And you know, when you're watching these big games, the likes of Arsenal taking on Chelsea, they attract the big names as well. And it's a sort of place where you never know who's walking past the studio. Yaya Toure is in the house. Yaya, welcome. Very pleased to see you. Daniel, how much is this pair worth, do you think,
we're talking at least 300 to 500 million right here. Come on, man, these two.
How does it divvy up?
These two are legends, come on.
Yaya, what did you think of that today?
I think the first half was okay. It was quite okay, good games, but I feel a bit disappointed in the end, you know, because we want to see flourish games, right? Fluid games, passing, attacking, scoring chances. Well, at the end of the day, we see 3 goals by set pieces for a derby. A bit strange. Yeah.
But does it matter if you're Arsenal and you're just trying to win your first title for 22 years?
Yeah, I think so, to be honest. I don't know, but yeah, I think so. Because winning today was obviously really, really important for Arsenal. But as a fan, I should, you know, I want to see more, you know.
What do you think, Patrick?
I think on the Arsenal point of view, what really matters is the 3 points. It is really important for them. And of course, when you look at the game a little bit more deeper, scoring 2 goals on the set pieces, and it wasn't really open games. You expected Arsenal to go a little bit more forward. Obviously, Chelsea has a massive and a big part of the game because they were quite well organized defensively. So it was quite difficult for Arsenal to create chances. But of course, when you are top of the Champions League table, you are top of the league table, you are in a final in a cup, and you're still in a FA Cup competition. So the expectation is higher, and you expect more from this Arsenal Football Club. And today, yes, on the side of the game, creating, going forward, taking risk, and I am a little bit disappointed, but the matters is, for them, is to win, taking the 3 points, and I think they did it well today. And
disappointed with which bit? With the style of football particularly, or that risk bit?
It's not about the style, because I think the style can be as well the fact that they didn't win the title for so long, so there is maybe a little bit of frustration and stress, because you want to do so well that you are not taking the risk that you are taking in the start of the season. So looking at where they are, and a little bit of nervousness, a little bit of stress, a little bit of pressure can have an impact on their games. But I believe that there is enough experience, there is enough quality, there is enough personality for them to go on the field and to go to win the game. And I think today, set pieces make the difference.
They certainly seem to put their fans through it, Daniel, don't they? They don't do things easily.
Yeah, but I think the key is stopping them. You know, we can talk about the roller coaster in terms of performances and how they go about winning games. I think the entertainment value sometimes isn't there, but football's a game about winning, right? That's what you want to do. Yeah. So I think it's about how do you stop them being great at what they're great at. Clearly, set pieces is an area that they've worked on tirelessly. You got to have the players to be pinpoint deliverers of crosses. Then you need the aggressive players in the box. They've got all the tools for the players who want to have the first contact. All of them are aggressive in the box. And then when you talk about an open play, of course, they've got many ways to win games, but it seems as if set pieces is the one that works the best for them right now.
Yeah.
So use that to your advantage.
Yeah, I think they did well. Since the beginning of the season, they've always been doing well. I don't want to be too much rush, right? And I think Arsenal now, they just at it, right? This season, I think I hope they're going to end up good, but as a Man City fans, you know, I think we are there, we're still behind them again. I hope they will soar at some point, but let's see.
Because it's in Arsenal's hands, but it's also in Manchester City's hands, because the fact that they play each other and they have this game advantage. We can actually show you the fixtures that both have left. How do you see this then, in these closing stages?
Yeah, I think it's incredible how those two title of the leagues doing this year is incredible, especially Man City being struggled at some point in the beginning of the season, and now they're coming back very strongly.
They've won 4 on the bounce. Then it's Forest midweek. Then West Ham United before the Carabao Cup final. Do you think that could be a significant game? The fact they are playing each other in that final.
Yeah, I think it can be a turning point, right? Because for me, I'm opinion if Man City win that game, it will be a big. Can be something, psychologically for Arsenal very strong, right? But I hope Man City is going to win the game because that one is going to be significantly for the rest of the season.
Can I ask you both? When you talk about your experiences that you've had, you've both been very successful legends of the game, like I talked about earlier on. From your experiences, Patrick, for you in 2004, your experience of maybe not winning the league for a few years and then going over the line from that psychological perspective, and for you, Yaya, similar, but in the sense of when Manchester City were always coming back to win the titles, what was that like psychologically?
Well, I think, of course, sometimes depends on the character of the player. For example, the first time when we win the league with Man City 2012, or before that, when we win the FA Cup, I think psychologically sometimes it's difficult when you have an opponent behind you who will pressure you a lot. For example, when you take an example now with Arsenal and Man City just fighting all the way, and the second one is, it's not that easy. And when you see as well your opponent like a Man City, you can leave them space, because if you, for example, make a mistake or you lose or you draw, they're going to come right at you. And you have to be strong mentally, of course, but have that sense of, like Patrick was saying, for them it's important to win those kind of games because, you have to understand that Chelsea, that was always a big role of Arsenal and the London derby. And I think Arsenal have to keep it going, doing that because otherwise it's gonna cost them something because Man City, for me, they're really gonna be Man City, right? They're always gonna try to finish strongly in the end. But let's see. I hope Man City will win, but
you're not sure. Do you remember, Patrick, the first one being different? In terms of that pressure and that psychological aspect that Daniel's referring to, that challenge of getting over the line for the first time.
And of course, there's a pressure. The pressure as a team, you want to do well, but there's a outside noise as well that you have to manage, you have to control. And I think when you're looking at Pep talking about Arsenal and saying that Arsenal is the best team at the moment, that is as well putting a pressure on the shoulder of Arsenal Football Club. And that is part of the game as well. But it will be really important, and especially when you get to the end of the season like that, there's a key games that you have to win. And it doesn't matter if you play well or bad. And I think today's games was one of them. But the key moment, I think, will be the game between Manchester City and Arsenal. I think that will be the decided game because when you're looking at after that game, you expect both teams to win all the games of the season. So for me, the key moment and the important moment will be that game.
Who's playing the best football, Yaya, of the two?
Man City is coming back well. Arsenal were doing well. After that, the struggle, I think they drew against. I watched some games, especially on Emirates as well.
Drew a couple recently.
Yeah,
Brentford,
yes, Wolves as well. That one cost them a bit and give them a bit of doubt, to be honest. Because when I see the players, express themselves, and as well, you have to understand that Odegaard, the captain, is brilliant, right?
I don't know when he's going to be back.
Yeah, I think for me, he's a huge miss because between the line is moving very well. We can, you know what I mean?
You can see he's a Barcelona.
No, because I love that type of game, that type of approach. When you play games, we need to be, because I feel like the player sometimes I be locked in the brain, right? Just I don't want to make mistakes. Maybe if I lose the ball, can cost the team something. I want the player to be more open. Of course, it's the game. We enjoy the fans part of it.
And the manager will tell you the best game is to get a result. So it's always a balance, I believe, to find between result and the performance. But if you compared Arsenal and Manchester City, I think Manchester City going through a difficult period, but they're always going to keep their philosophy. I think the way that they're going to play, try to build up from the back, that is part of the DNA. And even if they're going through a difficult period, they are staying with kind of philosophy. Arsenal going through a difficult period, they are capable of adapting themselves at how they are feeling at the moment. If they have missing players, they may going to treat some of the tactical aspect of the game. I think that is kind of the differences between the two clubs.
To add on that, I think for me, Man City is playing the better games. For me, they're the best
in terms of style.
Style of experience in terms of approaching the games. Yesterday, the games they play against Leeds, it's not easy, very difficult. I watched the game carefully and I see that Leeds have that momentum, but Man City joins with calmness, with control, with understanding, and they're really good, right? For me, I think that's gonna go into the end. For me, in my opinion, and for me, at the moment, Man City are playing better games.
You said they're playing better football. You said they hope they win. Are they going to win? Are they going to win the title, Man City?
Yes. I definitely want it.
Okay.
I definitely want it.
You've been playing. You say it like it is. Okay.
We better let you go quietly and don't repeat that outside this studio. Thank you so much for coming to see us.
Thank you very much.
Pleasure to see you.
Pleasure.
Giant of the game, Yaya Toure, popping in to our studio here on Super Sunday. This because Gary made the point. You've been there as well, winning many titles. It's a question of sometimes going second is not the easiest when you see your opponents have got the result on the board. You can feel their breath on the back of your neck.
Yeah, but I think Michael mentioned it quite really well. That is the quality of the Premier League. But they built that experience in the last 4 years. So they finished second, and now they are in the top. And they have to manage to get there at the end. And I think they gained so much experience in the last couple of years. And they are really close to get there, to win it. I believe that Arsenal are more stronger than they were last year. Because when you're looking at the team and you're looking at the quality of the players, on the right-hand side, Saka or Madueke. On the left-hand side, they have Martinelli or Trossard. Up front, they have Jesus, they have Havertz coming back from injuries, Eze is here. So they have the squad to go until the end and to win the title. And I think now it's just about believe and keep going and taking game after game and try to not change who you are and not changing your identity. Go and play as the best as you can, like they did it a couple of months ago. In the beginning of the season, I was watching Arsenal, and from the first game of the season, I said, Arsenal will win the title, because of the way that they were playing. And it's true that it's really difficult to play with such a quality from the first to the end of the season. But this team has quality.
I thought that was a really interesting line, though, that Mikel Arteta used there. And I want to sort of revisit that because we feel like we've been in a run-in for a long time, was what he said. Does that change the mentality? If you think back, UK, you said they were better than last season. But if you go back 2 seasons, they were scoring goals for fun. They scored 91 goals in the season. They finished with 89 points this season and only beaten by City, who got 91. And it could be those two pushing each other again all the way. But does it change the mentality in terms of trying to protect what you've got when you are out in front rather than chasing something like it seems that Manchester City are right now?
I think that where Arsenal are psychologically is I'm not in the dressing room, obviously, but I feel as if because of the experiences they've had, they almost have the ingredients now psychologically. It's just about going and doing it. I feel like they're in a much stronger position psychologically than they've ever been. They've had so many different experiences in the last 2 seasons where they've been close, you're battling away, and you're almost thinking to yourself, like, what is that one thing that we are missing?
Does that become a bruise, Daniel, or baggage even,
No.
when they've been that close and missed out before?
Well, it can, but I don't think so. I think that it's down to the match winners to step up, to make the difference. It seems like it's only 9 games and it sounds like it, but I think the pressure of it and the exhaustion of it all, and psychologically you become tired because you're thinking, we've got to do this, we've got to execute. They have it in their hands. It's their job to continue this momentum, but it's not easy when you are battling on multiple different fronts. I think the experience of winning the league, and I know that was something that you'd ask Gary in terms of the feeling of winning your first Premier League title and whether that changes your approach or your experience. And that's why I asked you earlier on about 2004 when I mentioned that. It's because I think that the first year, Arsenal, when you won the league with Arsenal, I think they're in a different position to the second time, in the sense of you'd felt the feeling of winning, but you were also very close multiple times. I feel like the similarity with this team is they've gone close multiple times and basically should have won, but they haven't done it. So in their minds and in their spirits, they should already be winners. They've not lifted the trophy, but their spirit should be, we're winners. And that's the thing I think they need to carry into it. Forget the baggage and the pressure of it's our first. It's more like, do I feel like a winner on the inside?
Could this be almost like, if they do get over the line, and you know, yes, they are fighting for 4 trophies, but in terms of the Premier League, could it be the moment like the cork coming out of the bottle for Arsenal, and then they go and do it again and again?
And of course, I think when more you win and more you build the confidence and belief. And I think Arsenal in the last couple of years, they built a team, because Mikel has been there for like 5 years now, and he's really built this team. Top players come in and they are more stronger. And of course, I think if they manage to win it at the end, that will be the momentum and the belief that players need to go there and win it like 2-3 times in a row. In our time, it was really difficult to win 2 titles in a row. We won it once, we didn't, we won it the next years because we were competing against United. And I think in the last couple of years, it was really difficult for Arsenal because there was a Liverpool, there was a Chelsea and a Manchester City. So there was more competition maybe than a couple of years ago. But if they win it this year, that can be Arsenal winning the title for the next couple of years.
So then, when you say that, right, the psychological impact of, say, you competing with Manchester United for all those years, and you knew this is our competitor, there was a lot of energy between the pair of you, right?
We knew that it was us or them.
Yes. And psychologically then, when you're approaching the season and you're in the running and you know it's us versus Man United to go to win the title, if you're second or if you were first in those moments, what is that psychologically like? What was that like for you?
It's always better to be first, you know, because you control the momentum and you know that what you need to do is just to win games to get there. So it's always, I believe, to be the one to be chased than the one who chased the first one.
But it almost feels like, Patrick, there's more freedom in chasing.
No, there's no freedom. I think it's, as a competitor, as a winner, from the first game of the season to the last one, you want to be at the top. So I think that Manchester City will want to be in Arsenal position.
Well, they both play on Wednesday night, and it could be the most extraordinary season in Arsenal's history, couldn't it, if it ends with 4 titles. Does there come a point, Patrick, when you do think about maybe sacrificing something in your pursuit of the Premier League? Is the Premier League the most important thing, or is it the Champions League?
The Premier League is important, I believe, for Arsenal. But at this level, when you are a competitor, you can't choose which game you're going to go for. And I think I was talking earlier on about the squad of Arsenal Football Club. And I think you have enough numbers of quality players to compete in every competition. And of course, it's really important, some key players like Odegaard to come back from injuries to help the team. But I don't see Mikel to choose a team A and a team B. They will go for it.
Do you think, Daniel, the Champions League draw could have an impact for both these teams? Because for Arsenal, it's Bayer Leverkusen, then it's a Bodo Glimt or a Sporting, and for Manchester City, it's a Real Madrid, maybe a Bayern Munich.
Yes and no, but look, top football clubs, you have big games, top players, world-class players that have to step up and perform. And we know that there's a lot of football matches, and, you know, we talk about schedules and resting and this, that and the third. But I think for both teams, they want to be successful in every competition. Every manager, the intensity from the managers is about winning everything. You know, that's the ideal scenario. I think for Arsenal, I would say the Champions League or the Premier League is a huge victory. This season, probably more than any for the Champions League, is a season that it seems as if they have an amazing opportunity based on the draw. They've still got to go and execute. I think the Premier League and why it feels like that's probably more is, yes, the amount of time. Right, we can talk about the Champions League. They've not done that, I think, in the history. But then you look at, because they've been in control for so long, it almost feels like, nah, you have to go and win the Premier League. So if they didn't win the Premier League, I think it would feel worse than if they didn't win the Champions League.
You don't want to disrespect any team in the Champions League, but you have to say that Arsenal are in a good side of the draw.
No, it feels like a big result. Obviously, we were behind. We had to show some character. Then I think in the second half we were a little bit more brave with the ball and also with the pressing. In the first half we couldn't find many spaces. They were defending very well, even in the wide areas, because we didn't have many runs in behind, so they could manage very well that, and we're a little bit slow with the ball. But obviously it's a very important win, another 3 points, and that's the aim.
So ultimately the VAR decision has proved quite pivotal in that game. It took quite a while for the referee to arrive at that. How did you see it on the pitch?
No, he was just waiting just to understand if it was a red card, because he told me straight away that the penalty was confirmed, but they had to see the red card. Obviously, we know that the red card, when it's like a push or a pull and no intention to go for the ball, is a red card, because it was last man, but he was trying to understand if Mateus was in control of the ball or not.
You'll know that Dean Henderson has a pretty good record at saving penalties, so what was key to beating him today?
No, obviously I work with him. I was with him after he had a spell at Forest. I had a penalty against Forest. He told me what he was supposed to do when he was there, so I knew what he was waiting from me. He even told me now at the end that he wanted to go again to the same side as he did last week and save it. Luckily for me, he went to the other side as I thought, and the ball went in.
Well, you weren't done there. It was the perfect ball into Benjamin Sesko. How much trust do you have in him at the moment with the goal-scoring form that he's in?
No, he's a very good player. You know, he just wanted to find his confidence back, and I think he can do much better. And he's a kid that always wants to improve, and I think he's aware of that. He's never happy with just a goal, and that's very important for a player to play at this club, because when you kind of relax and feel yourself too much, you go through the wrong path. But he's very aware that he needs to score week in, week out at this club, and he's doing that. And for everyone at the club, everyone is very happy with the progress he's having, and hopefully he's going to have even more goals until the end of the season.
Well, as a team, you are making great progress. What does this result do for your top 4 ambitions?
No, obviously he gives us a chance to get closer to get to the 3rd place now, but it's a lot of games to go still, and we have a lot to do. It's very important that we, as I said before, we don't feel that we are already in the place we want to be, because the season still has a lot of games to play, 10 I think, and that's a lot of points in game, and so we need to make as much points as we can.
Well, for now, enjoy this victory. A great team performance, but you are the player of the match. Well done.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Well, Michael, congratulations. What a turnaround to maintain this unbeaten start you've made. How do you sum up the performance?
Yeah, I'm really happy. I think it was a test for us today, and you know, coming in at half time and go down, something slightly kind of new for us, and so I thought we didn't start the game great. Credit to Palace, they did, and I thought then we grew into the game as the half went on, and certainly second half of what we stepped up again, and it was a big thing to overcome, being a goal down at home so early, and to win the game against a team that they're tough to break down and they're well organised. So it was a big step for us today, and I was really happy with the way the boys kind of approached that and reacted to it, and got there in the end.
Yeah, before you reached the turning point, that first half, when you drill down into it, where do you think you perhaps struggled to find your rhythm a little bit?
I'd rather talk about the hour after that, really. I think it's football, you know, they're a good team, and it doesn't take much for the game to swing both ways, and we just weren't quite sharp enough, and we weren't quite there. And so I've been there as a player. You just got to work your way out of it, and the boys did. So we'll obviously look at it, you know, and we'll address it. But I thought there was a lot of good things in the game that we can take from moving forward as well.
I suppose the pivotal moment then, the decisions. How did you see both at the penalty and the red card? The referee took his time a little bit, but was it clear to you?
Well, he's clean for one goal, Mateus, and it was a great pass from Bruno and a great position for us to get into. So it definitely asked the question of the officials at that point. I've literally not seen it, but what the fourth official told us that the decision was it wasn't for the penalty. It was when he went to the screen, it was just for what card he was going to give. So is what it is, you know. We'll take it. Obviously, it was a big moment of the game, but I thought we deserved it.
I suppose it's one thing having the extra man, but then really taking advantage of that situation. How do you think the players were able to do that so well?
Yeah, it's a difficult balance, that, you know, because they obviously still set up to break forward and got dangerous players, and they had moments when we had to kind of react and deal with it. But yeah, again, credit to the boys, you know, and breaking down that defence that's kind of so well drilled, you know, and we did it in different ways. We could have had more. So it was a good way to finish the game.
Tesco on the score sheet again. What did you make of his performance as a whole this afternoon?
Yeah, Ben's there to score goals, and he's done enough of that lately, and it's something that I've said it. He's going to be an important player. He is an important player. He's going to be even more important as he kind of progresses and improves all the time. So to get his start today, for me, it wasn't a big drama. It was a natural kind of decision, and Ahmad coming on and rotating a little bit, but for Ben to get that goal again, that's some really important goals he's got for us, and it was a fantastic header.
And up to third, does it feel like quite a significant result in your top 4 ambitions this season?
It was more the way the game went, to be honest. I think wherever we were in the league, I think there was more of, as I said, that new kind of challenge in some ways for us to be down like that at home and overcome it. I think that was the biggest thing from today. Yeah, we've moved up a position, which obviously is nice, but you know, it's 1 week, it's one weekend again, so we're not getting carried away with that, but it's more the performance and the way we've done it. I think that the boys will benefit a lot from that.
And before you go, how about Luke Shaw? What can you tell us there exactly?
He just wasn't well. He was ill, so
right.
See how he recovers really, but he'd be going home and wrapping himself up and getting back as quick as possible, so hopefully it's not too bad. And
just to check on Harry Maguire, he looked like he might have been in a bit of discomfort as he was leaving the pitch.
Yeah, we'll see with Harry. We'll see, but hopefully he'll be ready for Wednesday, you know. And I thought the boys that came on actually had done really well for us today, and we needed it, so good day for us.
Their Champions League last 16 opponents this lunchtime, but the focus for Arne Slot is on tomorrow's game against West Ham United. Right, Charlie, we had the news conference a few minutes ago from Arne Slot. No Florian Wirtz. How much of a blow is that, considering the form he's found?
Yeah, I think it's a blow. Of course it is. Liverpool are performing, and listen, they're on that run, but that coincides with how well he's performed himself, and he's stepped up Wirtz now into the play. I guess that what Liverpool expected to almost happen straight off the bat, but it didn't. For me, he's going to be a big miss. But Liverpool have got the squad. It's a disappointing moment for the club and the player, but Liverpool have got the squad to try and push on.
Do you expect Liverpool to finish in the top 5 and get into the Champions League? And what happens if they don't?
Well, I expect them to, yes, because that has to be a bare minimum to get in the Champions League. That is the bare minimum for Liverpool Football Club. So I expect them to get in there, and they need to finish the season strong, continue on this form. If they don't get in there, then that could unfortunately open a whole issue again regarding the manager, regarding players leaving, and then attracting players. Regardless of the squad that they've got and the money they spent this summer just gone, you've still got to keep the squad fresh. And players come and go, that happens. But it's easier to attract players to Liverpool Football Club when you've got Champions League. You can't just have Liverpool Football Club, Europa League. It needs to be Champions League football.
Well, they've got West Ham at home on Saturday, then Chelsea, who are currently 5th, are away at Arsenal on Sunday. Let's get a Liverpool fan now.
Finalysis has partnered with Sky Sports to empower fan opinion. On the Finalysis app, you share your player ratings, your manager ratings, and your opinions on everything to do with your club, so that Sky Sports can put fan opinion at the heart of their football coverage. Scan the QR code to download the Finalysis app.
And the Liverpool fan is Conor Ray. Good morning to you, Conor. Liverpool have actually been in good form, 5 wins in 6 in all competitions. Has the positivity returned?
It's certainly better than it was. I'm not sure, you know, with the run of 6 losses in 7, 8 and 9, whatever it was, I'm not sure it could have got any worse. So it's definitely better than it was. I'd say positive tentatively. Yeah, I think the goal against Forest last week was massive, absolutely massive for that. It's a very different feeling around the club again if we haven't won that game, especially because we deserved nothing out of it. this stage of the season, I think the important thing is to just keep putting points on the board. I think the performances and the manner of the victories, as long as they're victories, will start to be questioned less and less, because we're coming to the crunch time of the season, aren't we?
That speaks volumes, Con, because last week, let's be brutally honest, the performance was woeful.
Yeah,
it was a woeful
absolutely.
performance, but it doesn't, because of the result. We 1-1-0 and you get the 3 points and move on, so you put a line through it and you have that conversation now. But because of the position Liverpool are in and fighting to get in them Champions League places, it's the results that matter more than the performances, because again, last week was far from impressive.
Yeah, 100%. And you're absolutely right, Charlie. If we haven't won that game, if we've drawn it or we've lost it, which, looking at that first half performance, we deserve to lose as well based on that. It's a very, very different conversation this week about the manager, about the squad, about how much we're going to miss Wirtz as well. I think that was a huge, huge loss against Forest. And having just heard he's missing tomorrow as well, I think he'll be a huge loss against West Ham as well.
Well, your next games, let's have a look at them actually. We can see your next 6, but West Ham, who currently, in the relegation zone, you've got Wolves, currently bottom of the league, Tottenham, who are in a relegation battle, and Brighton, who haven't been so great this second half of the season so far. They're your next 4 games. What are you expecting from those 4 games? At the end of it, will you be feeling confident that you are definitely going to finish in the Champions League places?
If we've taken 12 points from it, then yeah, I'll be feeling a lot more confident.
Do you expect 12 points?
Say again, sorry?
Do you expect 12 points?
Yeah, I mean, I think we have to. If we're serious about getting Champions League football and the squad we've got, as Charlie mentioned before and all the rest of it, it's Champions League qualification for Liverpool is the bare minimum. I think the conversation shifted naturally because of the form we've been in, but if we're not getting 4th place, and to be honest, getting 4th place comfortably, then it's been a failure of a season, and I don't really think we can be dressing that up any other way.
I don't think you can dress up anyway, Connor, because you think we're out of title race straight away. Then the next 4, it has to be 12 points. Let's not get away from the fact that it's Liverpool Football Club and need Champions League football. So if you're getting in there, they need to win the next 4. We haven't got a standout game in there. You think, this is a top one. They're going for the same battle. You're looking at it and you're playing West Ham, you're playing Spurs, teams that are down the bottom that are nowhere near us in quality. And now it's all about Liverpool just getting and trying to cement Champions League football, because again, if that doesn't happen, it has been an absolute failure of a season.
100%. Yeah, couldn't agree more. The concerning thing about those 4 games, I suppose, is that all 4 of those teams are sort of fighting for their lives as well, right?
That shouldn't be enough, though, Connor. That shouldn't be enough to beat Liverpool.
Yeah. Absolutely, yeah. But we've seen, haven't we, already this season with the type of performances that we're putting in. If we turn up like we did against Brighton the other week in the FA Cup, great, we're going to blow all 4 of them away, no problem. If we turn up like we did against Forest first half, then I worry because they're going to want it more than we will potentially as well.
Yeah, the Opta predictor actually does have you down as finishing 4th. And I know that's what you are aiming for now that you've just mentioned. But Mo Salah, let's talk about him. 9 Premier League games without a goal. Should he be dropped?
Not for me. I think it goes back to the November issue as well, right? For me, it comes down to what standards do we hold him to. Salah's very much been a victim of his own success this season, because we're all expecting him to replicate the season he had last season when he dragged us kicking and screaming to the title at times. You compare him to other wingers in the league this season, and he's not having as bad a season as it looks kind of week to week. His output has been comparable to wingers that other people are saying are having a decent season or a good season in parts as well. I think so. It's about what standards we hold him to. If we're taking into account that he's a world-class winger and he's capable of the numbers that he had last year when we won the league, then you can't drop him because he's capable of those moments as a player. If we're saying that he's an average winger now and that's all we expect of him, then I think there are other players in the team that should be dropped ahead of him, especially for Rio and Ngumoa and the like.
Way the season has gone so far.
That's a good question. The season didn't went how everybody wanted it to go, but I think at the moment we are in a better place than we were maybe a few weeks, a few months ago. So yeah, it's not too bad, but yeah, we know what we can do together, and it's up to us to show it on the pitch and to show everybody that we still can do it. And I think that's a little bit the feeling now, that we just have to keep going together, and yeah, then I think the sun will be shining again.
When you say you're in a better place than maybe a while ago, what do you think has improved? What's been the key to that?
I think first of all, we won more games than back then, and I think we also more solid in conceding. I think we had 3 clean sheets in a row now, which is great. So yeah, those are all small things we improved.
So yeah, that's good.
Knowing that effectively you're out of the title race, though, was that a mental hurdle to get over as well? How did that impact the group?
I think at one point we weren't really thinking about that. I think when we were in a very difficult position, we were just thinking about how to get out together, and yeah, it was not really focused on then being out of the title race. It was more getting back to where we belong, and that was winning games at the time. What's it been like for you personally as well? How do you assess your season? Yeah, I think a little bit the same as the team. It's been difficult for everybody, for the whole team, for the results at some points, and yeah, you play some good games, you play some lesser games, and you try to improve. And I think, like I said before, I think everybody hoped that the season would be even better than the season before, but it turned out different. And yeah, we have to accept and we have to keep working and try to improve ourselves to be back to our best. I'm hoping this interview brings you luck, because it's 7 games without a goal for yourself. Yeah, I'm not 7 games. Used to seeing that too much. No, that's true. So hopefully the next game then I will score. I want the celebration then as well. Oh yeah, you have to name one. But again, how does that impact you if you're on that run where you're not perhaps being as productive as you would like? How does that impact you, confidence-wise, I should say? Yeah, like I said, obviously as an attacker you want to score, you want to give assists, but I think, me personally, I'm mentally strong enough to not let it influence my feeling or how I am at the training ground or at home or something. So I think that's not really a thing. But yeah, obviously as an attacker I want to score and give assists. And what we should remember as well is there's still plenty to play for this season, isn't there? Exactly, and I think for me personally and as a team, there's at least 2 more trophies we could go for, and I think yeah, the season is not over until it's over, and yeah, we have to fight for it together, and yeah, we'll see where it ends. Could argue you've got 3 trophies to play for, because there's a World Cup at the end of this season. Yeah, this is with the national team. Yeah, true. That would be amazing. Yeah. How do you assess though the job that Liverpool have got now to qualify for next season's Champions League? Because it is vital that you're in the Champions League again. Yeah, no, it is. I think the club is that big that it deserves to be in the Champions League, and it's up to us as the players to make it happen. We are close at the moment, but yeah, we need to keep winning games and to gather the points to be in the top 4. And I think it's doable. But yeah, we have to do it together. How does that pressure compare to last season when you were top of the table and leading the race for the title? Yeah, it's totally different. I think now you are hunting something which is not really a trophy, but still very vital, as you said. And obviously last season at one point you were just hunting the trophy where everybody was waiting on, and at one point it looked like it couldn't go wrong anymore. So that's a little bit different, but yeah, also part of football, and yeah, we have to deal with that as a team. And I think, yeah, like you said, there are many more games to play and many more chances for us to get in top 4. Do you feel like you can't afford any slip-ups between now and the end of the season? Yeah, it would be even more difficult if we slip up. So yeah, you can say that we cannot afford one. I think the boss said in this very room actually to us the other week that you pretty much need to be perfect. Yeah, we pretty much need to be. Yeah, we play also United, we play Chelsea, so also vital games for that spot. So yeah, we cannot slip up anymore. What about West Ham this weekend then? Very important game for us, I think, to keep a little bit the momentum that we're in, hopefully get another clean sheet, score more goals. I score one because I had an interview with you. But yeah, they're also in a better place than they were maybe a few months ago. Watched some games of them, and they looked good as well. I think everybody in the league is very tough to play against, so it will be a difficult game. But I think yeah, if we do our thing and we be on top of it, then we should win the game. Just one final thing then. Is there some sense as well, I spoke about momentum earlier for yourself personally, but what about for the team to carry on into next season? Because I'd imagine you're feeling that with things coming together, next season can be much, much better. Yeah, exactly. And I think if everything started to click together, at one point you will be in a kind of flow as a team, and then obviously you can carry that momentum to the years to come. And I think that's very important that we find that on the pitch, and that we can also show it, because I think as a group we have a good group. There's no issues or something, so we have that feeling, but we have to show it as well on the pitch, and then carry that from now on, hopefully, to the end of the season and then into the years to come.
Do you see the potential in this group to be fighting for the Premier League title in the years to come now?
Yeah, I think we have very good players. The new players also are very good. We are a good group together outside of the pitch. So yeah, all the factors are there, and then it's up to us to show it.
Play Chelsea in the final part of Super Sunday tomorrow. Man City go first away at Leeds United earlier. Is pressure and how Arsenal handle it or don't handle it the only thing that stops them ending this 22-year wait for the title?
Yeah, and a bit of luck here and there along the way. I mean, you got to get a bit of luck along the way. You know, kick off tomorrow, ball goes over the top, keeper comes out, someone goes round and keeper gets sent off, you're in trouble. So you need that little bit of luck at the same time. Big pressure playing second. If Man City win.
Yeah.
If Man City win, the pressure's on. So, for me, this is a big weekend, as I said earlier. Man City have got a difficult game at Leeds, and Arsenal got a very, very difficult game at home to Chelsea. So, yeah, all the eyes were on Arsenal last week against Tottenham. You know, big local derby. You think it's going to be a bit of a leveller, and they performed. Put in a brilliant, brilliant performance. You sit there after and you think, why didn't you just play that against Wolves? Why don't you just play like that with that amount of energy, have a go at them, attack them, you know, and Wolves wouldn't have been able to live with Arsenal. So, for me, I think they've got to take the game to Chelsea. Chelsea will probably sit back like they did in the semi-final and soak it up and try and get Arsenal on the counter-attack. But, yeah, big football match this. I think if Arsenal win this game, that you could tick another big team off that they've beaten.
And Merce is right, Boydie, to talk about, particularly that performance against Wolves. It was so poor by the standards they've been setting this season. Yeah. But can we read too much? Listen, you only beat what's in front of you, and they did so well against Tottenham last week. But we've talked about Tottenham. They're so far off it at the moment. Can we read too much into that winning performance?
Yeah, because it's a derby. You know, I mean, I know Tottenham are struggling right now, but to go and put on the performance that they did, and I thought Gyökeres was outstanding. I mean, there's been times where he's been criticised this year. I don't know if maybe because Tottenham, Tottenham started with a back three. Usually when you see Gyökeres, he's trying to back in, he's trying to fight with defenders. I thought at the weekend it was an outstanding performance because he didn't go and get involved in the battle. He didn't go and try and play up against them. He played in between them, he played to the side of them. He caused Tottenham all sorts of problems. And when he's in this form, I think he's very difficult to stop, because there's one thing, yes, he's not hit the amount of goals that a lot of people expected him to get, or he's not hit the amount of goals that he got in Portugal in the last few years. He was never going to. But whenever you give him a chance, Si, I mean, his finishing is outstanding. This year, there's only one thing. He doesn't need to look at the goal. He knows exactly what it is. The goals don't move. His first touch is perfect. It's in, it's clean, and it's a fantastic sight. This one uses his body. He's fully aware of it there, as I said. Usually it's like backing in and trying to fight with defenders. That time there, he gets his arm up across, holds the defender off and just bends it away. It was an outstanding performance. And, you know, for me, when you've got that back three and a striker, it can be difficult sometimes to go and pick him up, but he occupied the three of them last week.
I think he was very, very clever. If you looked, he played on Polinia and Dragusin in between them two. He never went on the other side where he goes, I don't want a foot race with Mickey van der Ven and Dragusin in the middle. So he played down that side. When he was up for a physical battle with Dragusin and Polinia, I thought he just outstrengthened them. What he wants, teams go to the Emirates and sit 10 players behind the ball, and it's hard for him to get an opportunity. But I think 10 Premier League goals this season, I think he's been a good signing. People say, yeah, his numbers aren't great. He occupies centre halves, Boydie, like you just said, and it gives you wide plays. It gives the player in the number 10, Eze last week, a little bit more freedom, a little bit more space, because he puts his centre halves back. I think he's a good signing, but people will always question that.
And mentioning Eze there, Merce, I just wondered how much he benefited, particularly last week, because Eze appears and he just absolutely loves scoring against Tottenham. Scored another couple to go with his hat-trick earlier this season, but it looked like Gyökeres was benefiting from having someone running off him, because at times this season he has looked a little bit isolated.
Yeah, he put He put Saka in there against Wolves. It's an odd position to play the 10. You know, you just don't just put someone in there and go, go and do what you want. You've got to make things happen. You've got to find pockets. You know what I mean? And Eze's very good at that. You know, I thought that was what he was bought for, was to get in them little pockets. You know, and if you get him on the ball, he can turn it. He's elegant. He goes past people like they're not there. Yeah, and it helped. If you won that game was perfect for Arteta. You know, they win the game 4-1 and Gyökeres gets 2 goals. Yeah. And Eze scores 2. I mean, if you could pick 2 players you wanted to score the goals, that would be it. If these 2 hit fire to the end of the season, Arsenal win the league. Yeah. You know, if they can go and be 8 out of 10 every week. Because, you know, we said at the start when Eze got bought, he was the X factor. He was the one that was going to get them over the line. And I still think that could be the case, you know, long as he plays. And Arteta trusts him. I always find with Arteta...
Do you think he does fully?
No, I don't think he does. A lot of people. I think Arteta plays on sparks where he'll watch someone, they'll do something wrong, and then, you're out the team. Do you know, I've seen it too. You know, we see it with Calafiori not long ago. He had a nightmare game, gets ripped off, don't play again. You know, Eze gets caught on the far post against Cash at Villa. Don't really play again. You've got to give them a chance. Trust in them more, these players. I don't think he does that enough, in my opinion.
How many managers and teams it happens to, they're never happy with it because the fixture list is intense if you're involved in multiple competitions. And that's what we have to factor in when we look at the remaining fixtures for both Arsenal and Manchester City. They meet in the Carabao Cup final. They're both still involved in the Champions League. And look at this kind of run of fixtures that they have between now and the end of the season. So any team in red is currently in the top 6. As Billy Ocean told us, red light spells danger. Any team in yellow is up to the relegation places, and then the teams in green are the ones in the relegation places. So once Arsenal play Chelsea tomorrow, the only team they play left in the top 6 is Manchester City, at the time being, at least. Does that make a difference, do you think, in the run-in?
No, I sort of agree with Pep in what he said, one game at a time. And I know it's cliche, but because you just never know in these fixtures. You would look at them 2 fixtures, Forest, and no disrespect to West Ham. Man City should get over the line in them. But Chelsea, the way they're playing, they're not closing out games like they should be, but the very, very good team, Arsenal, I've said it from day one, this is the defining week, this here. And if you look at Arsenal's side as well, because they've not done it, and I've been there, get into the Champions League, and you're always looking over your shoulder, can you do it? And if they don't do it this season, they might do it next season. But what Man City have in their favour is the experience. I said before that they're not scintillating. And they know that. They defended well today and they got the goal. But there's something to say about the experience, especially when it becomes a psychological battle. So Man City today could go home.
That game on April the 18th, there's midweek Champions League fixtures.
Yes.
Just in the week before that.
Well, that could take a lot out of both teams as well. Man City obviously got Real Madrid, which is not going to be easy. But they both have got very good squads. Everyone talks about Arsenal squad, but Man City squad's really good as well. The players that are on the bench today. It's just fascinating. We've got a proper title race this year.
You didn't want to talk about the past, Pep Guardiola, but we're going to, because this is extraordinary. This is how Manchester City typically finish a Premier League season compared to how Arsenal normally do. Now, if this were the case here in 23-24, where they were 3 points better off than Arsenal, even City's worst finish compared to Arsenal's best would be enough for Manchester City to win the league title. However, he's also correct in that this doesn't mean anything this season, in a way. What do you think?
I think it means something because you've done it before. And that, again, I'm going back to the experience. But when we won the league, we had to beat Man United. Yeah. So Arsenal have to do it at some point. And that's why it's taking every game. Don't be looking at fixtures saying, we're going to get points here, we're going to get points there. Because goals or a sending off or whatever could change a game at the right or wrong moment for you. They've just got to focus on the task in hand. However, I just feel, and that's why I said, everyone was talking about Man City saying they're not quite there. But they might not have to be quite there. I don't think the league's been amazing this season. Liverpool have not been it. Chelsea have had a new manager. Spurs have. Arsenal started really well, went through a little bit of a blip. But then
Villa looked like they were going to challenge and then
fallen off a little bit. And Man City now just doing their business quietly. Everyone's writing them off. but you can never write off Man City. Every time you try to write off Man City, they make you look stupid. So I think it's going to go all the way to the wire, but I think the pivotal game is obviously at the Etihad.
On April the 18th, between Arsenal and Manchester United, or between Manchester City and Arsenal, is what I should say. And it's not just about how strongly Manchester City finished the season. It's not just about the experience of the players. It's the fact that Pep Guardiola has this record of winning league titles in pretty much every season, certainly the vast majority of seasons that he manages club. 12 with 2 runners-up and 2 third places for him. I mean, that kind of experience, I was going to say can't be bought, but you can employ that kind of experience, but it's invaluable in the team.
Yeah, it's pretty impressive, isn't it? I think he's never gone 2 consecutive seasons, is it, without winning a title. So I think the 2 third-place finishes we talked about off-air was his first season and last season. So he definitely knows what it takes to win the title. Of course he does. But I think Arsenal are better equipped this year, I'll be honest. I think listening
in terms of defensively, attacking.
Yeah, defensively, I think all over the pitch they're solid. Okay, they're maybe not playing free-flowing football that you maybe expect a title-winning side to do, but you don't have to.
Correct.
You just win the league by all means necessary. Do whatever you have to do to win the league, and I think they might just have enough. But yeah, listen, it's all setting up for a fantastic end of the season. But Pep knows what it takes to win a title.
Micah, you know what it takes to win a title as well, pre-Pep Guardiola. And you mentioned that title-winning season when you're chasing down Manchester United until it all came to a head in the game against them, the 1-0 win against them. Does this, it's not exactly the same, but does this feel similar to that season, or can you see similarities?
It does, because we went to Old Trafford and we won 6-1. We got a little bit ahead of ourselves, let's say. We thought we were the better team. We looked at our squad and thought, yeah, they've got some top players, they've got experience. However, what we've got on the pitch and our bench, we always thought maybe it's a little bit stronger. If we needed to make a tactical change, I think we had more for the bench than them. And then when Vincent Kompany scored that header, he just started to believe. But it was mad because the game when we won the league, that QPR, and that's why we're talking about with the fixtures, expecting that game to just go swimmingly well, no problems at all. But the way it happened, Dzeko and then Aguero, last minute of the game was just incredible. And you go through, and people are talking about Arsenal, and they're talking about the very emotional. But so were we. You have to be emotional because winning the Premier League, especially as a young boy who wants to play football, it's absolutely everything. I was content with the FA Cup the season before. You go and win the Premier League, it's dreamland. So when people say Arsenal are overreacting and they're very emotional, at times if you look at Arteta on the sideline, maybe, but he knows how much it means. And as a player, you look at every single detail. I remember going before a game and just thinking, I don't know if I can do this. It's too much for me. And then, you win your first challenge and then you grow into it. And that's what Arsenal have to do.
Yeah, that fear of success is a really
Correct.
strange phenomenon. But for Manchester City and for Arsenal, this is going to be a fantastic run-in. They're also going to play each other, Micah, in the Carabao Cup final a couple of weeks' time. I just wonder if whatever happens here has a bearing on what happens on April the 18th or whenever they play each other.
You wouldn't be human if it didn't. If Man City were to win that...
generally teams don't win both, do they? If this kind of situation
but it's the
happens.
Confidence that it gives you. If they go
gives you a
that,
psychological boost.
Psychological battle. But however, if Arsenal were to win that, it gives them the belief as well. That's why this season it's so entertaining.
And also it'll tell us about maybe their focus. So if one of them is like, the league is the one in our sights, sometimes the cup competition can kind of go by the wayside a bit. But we'll at least get a little taster before we get to the main course.
Yeah, listen, it's all setting up to be a fantastic end of the season. I think I'm with you guys. I think it's whoever wins that cup, it could give them a psychological big boost. It'll be interesting to see if City do get ahead of Arsenal, how Arsenal then react, and even how City react by being in front, because there's a totally different pressure. It's easy to chase. It's harder to stay there. So it'll be interesting if they do manage to get there to see what it's, how they go about it.
Interesting game, actually. Liverpool running out 5-2 winners against West Ham United. Relegation threatened West Ham United, of course. The Sunday Telegraph
focuses on Liverpool being the new set-piece kings, but only in attack. Sam Wallace writes, Liverpool's transformation into one of the Premier League's more effective set-piece teams may still be a delicate business, but things are certainly changing in this new era of dead ball specialism. They struck 3 goals that originated from corners. Jonathan, for all their issues with set pieces this season, could a positive end, which looked very unlikely for Liverpool earlier on this season, a positive end to this season could come from the very area that they were struggling with?
Right, and you go back sort of 6 months and Arne Slot is saying, you know, it's unfair that teams like Sunderland and Brentford keep playing long balls against us, and almost sort of sounding a little siren to the rest of the Premier League, please bombard us. The transformation has been you know, very interesting, to say the least. I mean, obviously it helps when you have a player like Virgil van Dijk who, you know, his prowess at set pieces is something that goes back years. That there's nothing new in that. That's not a secret. But there is a new set piece coach. I think there's been a new emphasis, you know, in training on I think drilling on what has been one of the foremost tactical trends in English football over the last few months. And I think, you know, we can. Liverpool weren't that good. Yeah, I mean, they were sloppy. There was a lot of really kind of basic errors. It was a bit of a scruffy performance, but they seem to have almost decided, well, you know, we can sort of sort out the fine details of it later. We're just going to score lots of goals and win games, and then we'll work on playing well later, which I think is, you know, seems to be working them so far.
Lewis Steele in the Mail on Sunday, he was at Anfield as well. The green shoots of spring are now showing after a taxing mid-season slump come crisis for the champions, who have now won 4 games in a row. Hugo Ekitike, Martin, we mentioned him before, he opened the scoring there for Liverpool. Have there been many better summer signings in this season?
Well, Ekitike is a great signing, absolutely great signing. It does help when you're playing West Ham's defence, by the way. Everyone can look great from set pieces if they're playing West Ham's defence. I think, was it the Van Dijk goal, one of the other goals? I think it's one Liverpool player and there's 4 West Ham players around him and he still gets the ball. You know, Nuno is like, he's got this like 10,000 yard stare sometimes when he's looking at what's going on. So I wouldn't get too carried away. I mean, but Ekitike is a beautiful player, and he was lovely yesterday. One of the goals that he made, the touch for the I think the volley touch, just absolutely beautiful. He's a lovely player.
I love watching him play. He's so graceful. He's so quick. He's incredible balance. Brilliant in front of the goal. And he's so good. It makes you wonder, why did they sign him? And then another also very good number 9.
It wasn't the plan. They keep saying, oh, this was always the plan. I've never believed it was the plan. I think they got Ekitike because they didn't think they were getting Isak. And then the opportunity arose to get Isak, and so they got Isak as well. And then thought, right, OK, we'll ham and egg this. We'll see how we go.
I wonder if in hindsight they wonder if... I just wonder if part of them thinks, maybe we signed the wrong Newcastle player. Maybe if they'd signed... Because given how Ekitike is so good, like he's easily good enough to be their first choice number 9 for years. They should have gone into Newcastle and signed Anthony Gordon. That would have given them better balance in their front line. That's what they're lacking. They're lacking a bit of extra speed.
And they tried to sign him before.
I was going to say, didn't they try to?
They have done, yeah.
I thought they tried to.
Just on Arne Slot, Jonathan, so much scrutiny on his position throughout this season. It potentially could yet be a really, really special season for Liverpool. Should Arne Slot's future even be a discussion? And were you surprised that it was a discussion earlier this season?
I'm not surprised because, you know, the wheel of content got to be keeping turning, and there is always, you know, in an age when kind of negative sentiment basically gets amplified through social media. There is always going to be someone who's going to, you know, I'll get rid of him, you know. There'll always be that voice to hone in on. I don't think a broad section of the Liverpool fan base was ever really seriously, you know, contesting his position. You know, and Slot himself, he was forced to come out, you know, a few weeks ago and say, I've been here for about 18 months and we won a league title. Just to sort of, you know, remind people, you know, I've done okay. But again, this is just the, you know, we've talked about the speed at which the cycle of narrative can turn for managers. You know, we've seen what's happened at Nottingham Forest, and you know we see what happened at Spurs as well with Thomas Frank. That fan bases are turning on managers faster than ever before. But, I think the idea that Slot was ever seriously in danger, as badly as they were playing, was, I think, a little bit fanciful.
Good evening, everyone. Hope you're well. We'll take a show of hands on questions, please, and we'll set an embargo towards the end for 10:30 p.m. on Sunday evening. Someone to start, please. Start with Sham.
Do you enjoy that and win without Haaland, the crowd on top of you, just a perfect result?
Yeah, it was. Erling is a massive important player for us, but we behaved really well. If you ask me about the game, my idea of the game, they started really well. We expected here. Ellen wrote, Leeds always is so intense, and after that we make what I think we are good. This for the last decade we are together is through the 1,000 million passes. So make the vibe of the crowd a little bit more calm and let them run through our passes. But we miss a little bit more intention to play up front, to make more movements. But when they are a little bit more fatigued, we start to last 50-20 minutes for half the intention. Okay, now we are going to pass the ball to try to score a goal. We found it in the edge of the first half. In the second half, as always, we drop. It didn't happen today. We were incredible focus in all departments, and we didn't have create much, but we didn't concede anything except the first 15 minutes was more long balls there, long one there, that we struggled with 1-0, and they put balls there, and Calvert-Lewin in the match, and the second balls, even our striker, James White, for the crosses, and it was a little bit more uncomfortable, but we defend really well, and huge victory for us.
Chris?
You mentioned about the pass today, but how important was Rodri today, and is that one of his best since he's come back?
What can I say? With him, Bernardo, we make this action the right, left, with the ball right, left, against man markings or pressing is so difficult to defend in that way because it's normally man mark is pass, one touch is easy for them, but you can make every player 3 or 4 touches more difficult for them. And Rodri is, wow, what a player, right? So in that situation. But I'm happy that we miss him a lot for a long time, and step by step now he's coming back. He's best.
Mark?
Was something said to you in the crowd? You seemed upset at the end.
Who?
Did somebody in the crowd say something to you?
Something to me, but it's normal. Normally happen that, wanka. But anyway, it's what it is. No, it was my family there.
Pep, did you hear when players came over for the break for fast in the first half? Did you hear that there was booing from the crowd?
It's a modern world, right? It will happen in the world right now, today again, right? If we don't respect the religion, respect the diversity, that is the point. If the rule, we didn't say that. We didn't. If the Premier League said, okay, for the fasting you can be 1 or 2 minutes, to do that. For the players, do it. So that's where it is. Unfortunately.
But the players said anything about what happened for the Ramadan break. You've got 4 Muslim players, I think, in the squad today.
Sorry.
Have the players said anything about the booing for the Ramadan break?
It's done. Of course they know it, but done. We did it. They take a little bit vitamins because Cherky and Nuri didn't eat today, and do it a little bit, and that's all. No more than that.
Set the bugger there for 10:30 p.m. on Sunday evening.
The question is, can they do it or not? Can they do it? Take one break for 1 minute to make that because the Premier League accept? What is the problem? Is a problem? No. So.
Start the mugger now, Martin.
Is just starting right now. Dave, has it already started? Dave Reed's in the studio with us.
It has, and we have our first blockbuster tie because Manchester City
have been drawn against Real Madrid. These two sides have a significant history. I think Manchester City went to the Bernabeu and won earlier in the campaign, so they're going to meet again.
Who could they have had, Man City?
They could have had Bodo Glimt.
And instead they've got Real Madrid?
Instead they've got Real Madrid, yeah.
Charlie, if you're a Man City player, what are you thinking now when you could have had Bodo Glimt?
Yeah, typical, but it's the luck of the draw. But that's a tough place to go also, Bodo Glimt. Let's not look at any different way. That's a tough place to go. But this is what the Champions League format is about now, and why it's changed, and this is now come to the exciting times.
You're just drawing more out now, Dave. Where are we up to now?
So it's now going to be Paris Saint-Germain versus Chelsea.
Oh, which means
PSG obviously lost to Bayern Munich and Sporting in the league phase. Drew with Sporting and drew with Newcastle in the league phase, but managed to get through thanks to that playoff victory over Monaco. Bit of a classic, that one.
So it means
PSG Chelsea in the last 6
So it means we know that Newcastle will have Barcelona.
Correct.
On the Chelsea point of view, Charlie, would you have preferred Newcastle or
I'm going to say yes.
PSG?
Yeah, I'd say more Newcastle, but I think Newcastle would have preferred to play against Chelsea instead of playing against Barcelona.
So far, it looks like those three English clubs we've talked about are all unhappy with the draw so far.
Yeah.
Man City could have had Bodo Glimt, but they've got Real Madrid.
But I think
Chelsea...
the excitement of it, Tommy, you'd want Newcastle and Chelsea to play against each other for that all-English tie, the excitement of it. We know what it brings. So, but look, they're going to be tough ties, aren't they? And Barcelona have played Newcastle already.
Right, I've just seen Liverpool's name come out, Dave. Who have they got?
Yeah, so Liverpool are now going to be playing Galatasaray. So Galatasaray, who actually beat Liverpool and Bodo Glimt in the league phase and beat Juventus in a fantastic playoff tie in the week. So those sides meet again. Liverpool will have that second leg at home.
Am I right in thinking that they would have had Atletico Madrid, though?
Correct, and now Spurs will play Atletico Madrid.
Right, OK.
Just on that, does that affect Conor Gallagher? Is that that was a permanent sign? Permanent, so he's fine. And then we've got you could have an English tie in the quarters with Liverpool and Chelsea.
So Atletico Madrid or Galatasaray. Liverpool have got Galatasaray. Tottenham have got Atletico Madrid. Who's the winner there? As in who will be happy with the draw?
Well, going off the competitions that we've seen, both the performances in the Champions League, both clubs will be pleased. They'd want to go to Galatasaray and play there, but that's a tough place, obviously, to go. Same with going against Atletico Madrid. But both clubs, I think, wouldn't have been disappointed in either clubs they got given.
Right, OK, so Galatasaray against Liverpool, Real Madrid, Manchester City in there as well. And Arsenal have just come out, Dave?
Yeah, well, they're just about to be drawn now. So Arsenal are going to be playing Bayer Leverkusen in the last 16. They lost 7-2 at home to PSG, but did beat Manchester City in the league phase. So Arsenal will play Leverkusen, and that means the second leg will be at the Emirates. So Arsenal will play Leverkusen in the last 16, and it also means now that Arsenal will play either Bodo Glimt or Sporting Lisbon in the quarter-finals. For a place in the semi-final, they will need to overcome Leverkusen or Bodo Glimt and Sporting Lisbon.
But also on that, we could talk about... But also, this side of the draw, there's Tottenham, Atletico Madrid, Barcelona and Newcastle. Arsenal, I know they are the favourites, but they are the standout club this side of the draw. So we talk about going to the semi-final. They have got a massive chance of getting to Budapest.
Yeah.
They really have.
Do you want to recap the last 16, Dave?
Yeah, so let's just recap it top to bottom then. So Paris Saint-Germain will face Chelsea. Galatasaray will face Liverpool. Real Madrid take on Manchester City again. It's Atalanta against Bayern Munich. Newcastle face Barcelona, as they did in the league phase. Atletico Madrid take on Igor Tudor's Tottenham Hotspur. Bodo Glimt face Sporting Lisbon. And Leverkusen face Arsenal. And if you're looking further ahead than that...
let's go through it.
So there's a possibility that Newcastle and Spurs then might face each other in a quarter-final of the Champions League. If Spurs overcome Atletico, Newcastle beat Barcelona over 2 legs. We mentioned Arsenal's route to the semi-final before. And then Manchester City, if they manage to overcome Real Madrid over 2 legs, will face either Bayern Munich or Atalanta. And Chelsea, if they get through against Paris Saint-Germain, could well face Liverpool in a potential Champions League quarter-final.
That completes the draw for the Champions League last 16. There you can see the route to the final there. Now the last 16 draw has been done. So you've got Chelsea against Paris Saint-Germain. Liverpool have got Galatasaray, Manchester City, Real Madrid, the first tie that came out there as well. Newcastle have got Barcelona. It could have been Chelsea, but instead it's Barcelona. Tottenham against Atletico Madrid. And for Arsenal, it is Bayer Leverkusen. So would you say there, with that route to the final that Dave just said, Charlie, would you say that Arsenal are probably the real winners out of this? On paper, I know.
On paper, yeah, you have to look at it and go, they've got the best side of the draw, and that kind of segment of it. That just builds more pressure on and expectations. And what is the bigger thing for Arsenal? I know we're talking Champions League here, but what is the biggest thing, the ultimate thing? For me, it's winning the Premier League. But now this adds even more spice to it, because your expectation is now on Arsenal is to get to the very last stage of the Champions League.
Just looking at the draw here, is there anyone who you'll feel particularly hard done by? I know it's a draw, but I can't help but think that Manchester City, having had the choice of, not the choice, but either Real Madrid or Bodo Glimt, and they've ended up with Real Madrid. That's the biggest discrepancy, isn't there?
It's the bottom four clubs on that kind of second segment. So Real Madrid, Man City, Atalanta, Bayern Munich.
Yeah.
Like that's the tough bit. You wouldn't really want to be a part of that. So you are going to say Man City have got one of the toughest bits. And Real Madrid are going to be saying the same, and so are Bayern Munich. So for me, that is the toughest part of it.
And Dave, am I right in thinking that Arsenal and Man City now on opposite side of the draw?
Yes, that's correct. So the earliest they can meet is the final in Budapest. So the top two in the Premier League going for it in the Carabao Cup final, the Premier League. But there's a long way to go before we get to, I think it's the 30th of May in Budapest for that final.
So in terms of an all-English quarter-final, there is actually a chance of two, isn't there? Like you said there, Newcastle could face Tottenham and Chelsea could face Liverpool.
Correct, yeah.
That's right, OK. Yeah, I'm just... That Real Madrid-Manchester City game really stands out there. So, Charlie, having seen that now, who did you say was... You said an English club would win the Champions League. Yeah. Did you say which at the start of the show?
No, I said I expected... the expectation of an English club going to win the Champions League, but now for me, looking at how they are spread out, and the standout route is Arsenal to get into that fight. It feels like we're going to have one in the final.
The other thing to say is, Liverpool have obviously not had the best of seasons in the Premier League, and I know they didn't do very well against Galatasaray in the league phase, but if they can get through that tie, anything can happen against Chelsea. Paris Saint-Germain haven't hit their stride as they did last year. There's a chance that this season for Liverpool could be a special one.
It's going to be an interest. It is going to be interesting. That is the thing with Liverpool. This could be special. You don't know what Paris Saint-Germain are not anywhere near what they was last year. The heights of what they was phenomenal. They generally aren't. Play Liverpool. Liverpool could be one of them teams that have a late run at it that nobody expects. They're tough in the Champions League stage. In Europe, they are brilliant. But Arsenal, for me, is just... If they go on and win it, it's one thing, but that's the standout route. They're the winners of that draw.
Is it a failure for Arsenal if they don't make the final?
Looking at that draw, on that side of it, I would say yes. I would say... And people say, put more pressure on Arsenal, Just, if you've got that squad and that team and the direction of the football club you're wanting to go in, I'm saying yes, it is.
We've asked a few times about Mason Mount and Matthias de Ligt. What is the situation with them? Because Matthias has not played since last time United played Palace, and Mason scored against Palace, so it's kind of a shared history.
Yeah, Mason's getting closer, really. He's on the grass. He's getting closer, so he's looking to kind of train and being around it pretty soon. So he's getting close. Just had to be patient, really, a little bit, and listen, he's a big player for us, Mace. So looking after him, making sure he's ready, and big finish to the season. So good news that he's getting really close. Matthias a little bit. He's had a back issue, which is just been a little bit slower to progress. Really, it's something that we've been kind of working through, and he's getting there. He's in the right direction, but as I said, he's just a little bit further behind. So. It's one of those things that's disappointing, but it's unfortunately part of football. So we'll get him back when we can.
Is there even a remote timescale for him? Because obviously, when he was injured the first time, Ruben said, "Oh, well, he'll be back like next week," and clearly we're months down the line now. We've got an international break coming up. What?
No, it's just the nature of the injury and the kind of issue in the back that it's a difficult one to kind of pin down in some ways, and especially time-wise. So he's definitely improving, so that's a good thing, and we're just working towards that. Really, there's not much at this stage that I can give you anymore. Really.
Afternoon, Michael. One player you'll be familiar with is Harry Maguire from your previous stint at the club. Just wonder, when you've returned, what kind of player you now see ahead of you, and of course his contract situation. Did the club plan to maybe sit down with him in the near future, just about what his future could look like?
Harry's he's an impressive character. You know, he's obviously he's had a great career so far. There's hopefully there's a lot more to come. I think even what he's been here, and the journey and the experiences that he's had, certainly since he's been here and with England as well, I think showed exactly what he is. I think we all know the player that he is and what he's capable of doing. And again, the other night there, I thought he was fantastic. Experience helps in that. He certainly, his attributes help in that, and his character, you know, and his willingness to put himself out there, and he's really impressive at age, and he's been really important for us.
Saw in a recent interview with your goalkeeper, Larmans, he was talking about one of the reasons why he feels there's been an upturn in form is the clarity of the messaging that's coming through to the players. Can you give us an insight into how you go about making sure that you convey to each player what it is you want from them?
Yeah, I mean, you could talk for quite some time on that, you know, in terms of how we want to play, kind of what we want to do for each other, and behaviours, and there's all sorts of things that kind of come into it, really. But yeah, I think I've said it at times over the last few weeks. When you're putting a team together and you're putting a team on the pitch, I think it's not always. You try to make it as clear as you can. I think clarity is important. It doesn't necessarily mean that it's simple. Sometimes there's quite a lot of detail that kind of needs to be put across, but I always try and feel that we do it in a simplistic form, really, so the players maybe think it's simple, but there's quite a lot of work behind that. So that's always the balance, I think, for any coach and manager, that you're trying to give the players going out there that their minds are as clear as possible, really, and they know the jobs effectively. So it's a constant balance, but the boys have been great, and anything we have tried to kind of help them with, implement them, give them bits of tips. I think they've all been taking it on board ever so well.
Michael, I was wanted to ask about Manuel Ugarte's yet to sort of start a game under yourself, had limited playing time. What do you see his role at the moment? What does he need to do to get back into the side?
Yeah, listen, Manu, I like Manu a lot. He's been terrific around the group, and hugely impressed with his attitude and how he goes about it, and his training qualities, and he's got a lot of really good attributes, Manu. I think that it's when the team's winning, there's obviously a big upside to that. And there's always for the one or two boys that maybe haven't played so much. Obviously, it makes it a little bit tougher to get in the team, but I think that creates that competition as well in a real healthy way, that everyone's pushing each other. And Manu's obviously, you know, desperate to get on the pitch more, and he's doing everything he can in training, and he's a big part of the group. So I think it's just a case of the results and the boys playing so well that there's going to be times when we might need to change things and freshen things up, and then certainly he's a big part of that.
Paul? Michael, just another question on Harry. How much input will you have into that decision on whether he stays or goes? And in terms of his experience, I think you're going to lose Casemiro in the summer. That's a big lump of experience gone out of the squad. You know, how important is it to kind of keep that level of experience, that player that Harry's got, that kind of in the future?
Yeah, I think within the squad, I think there's always that balance. You know, you certainly want that younger potential and that excitement of developing players and helping players. You need that little sweet spot in the middle, I think, where players at the peak. I think you certainly need that within the group, and experience is massive. You know, it's hard to put a price on how kind of valuable that can be, and whether that's individuals, that's experience as a whole group. But yeah, Harry's, as I've just said, he's gained an awful lot of experience in different ways through this club. So, and yeah, Casa leaving is another one experience, and it's something we got to obviously understand and what that means.
Hi, Michael. The Champions League draw took place this morning. I'm sure you've probably got other things to do than pay too much attention to it at the moment, but does it feel strange being at this club all the time you've been here as a player? The Champions League's going on without United. It's happened fairly regularly over the last few years, certainly into the knockout stages. Does it feel different or wrong that this club isn't competing at that end of Europe consistently enough these days?
Certainly where we want to be. I don't think we can assume and just take things for granted just because the past is the past. That takes care of what should happen here and now or next season. I think it's you've got to kind of earn that. You've got to show you're good enough, and I think that's why when you have time of success or you achieve success, it's warranted, you know, and to show how tough it actually is to get it. So, to be honest, at the moment, it's a really laser focused on kind of what's ahead for us. You know, there's no point in us looking elsewhere. You know, we know where we want to be. We know kind of what we got to do to get there, and the performance level and the games that are coming up where we want to try and get the right results. But I think looking what else is going on in and around Europe at this point is not really going to help us. But certainly where we want to be.
Chris and then Andy.
Hi Michael, just on Harry again. He started every game since you came in, of course, as you say, was great at Everton on Monday. You obviously here as the first team coach when he first signed for the club. You've seen him right the way through. Is he as good now as he ever has been, in some ways better in terms of the experience that he's got now?
There's a case, I think. It's I think as your career goes, and just touching on it there, I think when you're a young player, everything's fresh and everything's new, and you're kind of fearless, and there's not many scars there, so you kind of it's full of excitement. You get to your kind of peak years, which kind of where you're at, and you feel good, and everything's there. But there's obviously you've had a few ups and downs along the way, and then I think you start getting towards the later times, and experience that you've gained then makes you a better player, or should make you a better player from learning from that. And I think we've seen that with Harry's performances of late, really, of what he's brought to the team, and he's been so important as well as many others. But so I think that's why experience is important to use it. I certainly felt it when I was playing that. It was 30, 31, 32. That probably was my best years, really, of just being at that sweet spot of being able to do it physically still, but using the kind of experiences to know what's coming, and probably seeing a bit of everything by that stage, so it's not a surprise.
Andy? Hi Michael. What's your thought process in choosing the same or very similar team week after week? Is it because you're winning? Is it because there's not as many games as you would hope for with the team being in Europe? Does that present difficulties with the players who are not getting in? How are you managing this?
Yeah, it's definitely something we're aware of. I think it's when, you know, we've just had quite a big break and before the last game, and you know, when there's a lot more games, I think, in terms of squad and being rotations or having to change things for physical reasons or game to game, I think that comes into play. It's obviously the challenge of managing the group. There's huge positives to it, and you know, the results we've had in playing well, winning games mostly. I think that's the huge positive. But there's certainly a big awareness from me and the staff of how important everybody is in the group, and it's something that we do have to manage. You know, so there's a balance to it, but there's definitely a big positive to the fact that we're in a good run of form. And even though sometimes it's the same players on the pitch, I think game to game we've changed things, we've tweaked things. Some of the front players have played in different positions. Luke, for instance, has played in different roles when we've been in possession, so it doesn't necessarily mean it's copy and paste and we go again, but there's certainly a feeling of trying to keep the momentum as best as we can as well.
Hi Michael, can I just ask about Ben? There's been quite a few calls for him to start after his goal scoring record off the bench, but is there an argument for why break up a winning formula when can you leave a player of his ability on the bench and, you know, in like a Solskjaer role kind of thing, like a super sub? And what does it say about the character that he is that he can come on and make as much an impact as he has?
I just think the whole thing is a real positive, to be honest. I think it's certainly not a decision that is a one that I look to in a negative way or anything like that. You know, as I said, we're playing well as a team. We've been winning games, and I'm still not getting carried away and thinking that just carries on. But certainly within the group and the forward players have scored a good number of goals so far. And Ben's been so good, you know, in so many ways for us. And it's really not a drama, believe it or not. You know, for kind of how people see it, it's not a drama, and I think it just shows the qualities Ben's got for what he's produced over the last few weeks. And if and when he starts the next game or the one after, I think it is what it is, you know. But he's doing so many good things as well as the team that it's a good position for us to be in. Catherine.
Hi, Michael. Your front three in the false nine system hasn't paid off against Everton and West Ham in recent weeks. Is that going to prompt a change this week for Šeško to come in, and why is that? Why hasn't it been as successful against teams like West Ham and Everton?
I don't think we've played a false nine, to be honest. I think Brian's played up high on the last line for a lot of the time, so it's just as I've just said there, I think we've played similar players, but we've played in different ways. 4 points from 2 games is not bad away from home, so it's not so bad, and being able to change it from the bench and make things a little bit different towards the end of games is a real strength. So I'm pretty happy with the way things are going.
Hi everybody. Join us on YouTube this Sunday from 12:30 p.m. UK time for all the build-up to our game against Crystal Palace. Zara and I will be joined by former Reds Fraser Campbell, and Danny Simpson will have the team arrivals, live warm-ups, interviews, analysis and much more. See you on Sunday.
Sacking Ruben Amorim could end up costing a whopping £15.9 million, as shown in the club's latest accounts. That, combined with the £14.5 million payout for Erik ten Hag, means that the club could end up spending over £30 million on sacking 2 coaches in a 15-month period.
I think given the way that he was behaving, some of the things that he was saying, some of the football, the dire football that was being served up, I think it's worth every penny. I think you could probably have a whip round on the Stretford end and they would chip in for that. I mean, you know, Ratcliffe, probably knowing him, will lay off a few tea ladies, which tends to be the way he does things. But look, 15.9 million is a crazy amount. That is absolutely a maximum. So if Ruben Amorim goes back into a Portuguese club in the next few months, or within the sort of the time frame of his original Manchester United contract, then obviously it will be less. But in terms of the turnaround, was it 5 wins and a draw under Michael Carrick, who won't be earning anywhere near what Ruben Amorim was earning? I think this is Manchester United will be happy to pay this.
Potentially season-defining month against Chelsea at the Emirates. It's live on Sky Sports. Arsenal currently 5 points here at the top of the table, still in all 4 competitions, and Declan Rice admits he needs to win a big trophy if he's to have any chance of winning the Ballon d'Or. Rice was named in a 30-player long list for the award last season. He's been a key player for Mikel Arteta's side, and Arsenal's form this season has led to him being touted to win the prize this year. We want you to get involved in those conversations, but we can have a look at the quote that Rice said. He said, "You want to be involved in these conversations. You see the recent Ballon d'Or winners and what they've done during the season. Hopefully we can be successful and I can be in those conversations. That would be amazing." So Rice there acknowledging that they do need to win the major trophies for him to be in that. OK, we'll get involved in that and let us know. But, Rob, if Arsenal do win the title or the Champions League, one of those big ones, does he deserve to win the Ballon d'Or?
I don't know about deserve to win the Ballon d'Or, But if you say, is Declan Rice a contender for the Ballon d'Or if he wins those trophies? I mean, you have to... you don't have to win the trophies. You have to show that you're a great player. For me, that's the number one. The Ballon d'Or was created in France years and years ago, and it was about who's the best player, not who won the trophies, not who won the Champions League, not who won their own league, and then who's in favour that year. And we go back, and the Ballon d'Or it wasn't even allowed out of Europe, for a winner out of Europe. So the Ballon d'Or now, for me, we should get back to the Ballon d'Or being about the best player. Is Declan Rice a great player? Absolutely. Do I see him in that top 3 in the world? No. I don't know about winning it.
Because when Dembele won it, it was probably because PSG was so successful, as opposed to he was the best player. Or do you think? But you're saying that it shouldn't matter, just doing an individual performance rather than lifting a trophy. And
I think there should be an accountability for it. Okay, did he play excellent? Did he make the biggest impact in his team? Did he make a biggest impact in the tournaments? Did he win the trophies as well? I think you have to go down the line for the trophies. And firstly, we have to judge it on the Ballon d'Or, which is the best player in that year. And for me, I even kind of look at last year, Dembele won it. Yes, of course, PSG, unbelievable. Dembele, great player. But I didn't think he was the best player last year to win it. So
who was? Who would you have had?
Out of all of Europe, I think the best player was Mo Salah. I mean, you just have to look at last year, look at the last season, and then compare. I think Vitinha in his own team was also amazing. And you look at Rafinha, Barcelona, Lamine Yamal, Mbappe even in that category. So there's now the instinct to just choose, if you win the Champions League, we'll pick one of those. It doesn't matter who. And I think we're forgetting the actual football with our eyes, not the stats. We have to look at the game. Who is the best player? You know, in the semi-finals, in the rounds, in the finals, for his club, week to week. Who's the best player? That's who we have to pick. Not who's got the best stats. Not who this team won it, so we'll just pick one of them. Doesn't matter who. And I felt like sometimes the Ballon d'Or in the last few years has been picked in that way, and we have to get back to the joy of football. Who's unbelievable? Who do we just love watching because they're so good? Who's by far the best players in the world? Let's start with that, not who's the Champions League winner this year or who's the World Cup winner, and we just pick one of them. Sometimes we're a little bit lazy with that.
Well, it would help Rice if he can score more goals. He says he wants to add more goals. He cited Frank Lampard and Yaya Toure. He's only ever once scored more than 5 in one season. He got 7 in 2024. The type of midfielder he is, does he need to add goals to his game? Is that important for that type of midfielder?
Yeah, I think, of course, when you are an instinctively defensive player, you don't really need to score the goals. Yes, you add impact and you add impact to your team and maybe some goals as well. For example, a centre-back. You don't expect them to win a Ballon d'Or with just goals. It adds to it and making an impact to your team or defensive midfielder. But I think we've seen now in the last few years, especially the last 3 years, teams not really having an automatic Makelele type player that is an out-and-out, Patrick Vieira's, Roy Keane's, those that they are a defensive midfielder. And that's their number one job. Everything else is a bonus. I think we're now starting to see midfielders like Declan Rice where they're a hybrid. They're not a defensive midfielder. They're not an artistic attacking midfielder. They're this hybrid midfielder that is a central midfielder that does a little bit of everything. And I think he's had an unbelievable year. I've got to say, we talk about Ballon d'Or one side, but he's had an unbelievable year. And he's in his ways, he's kind of changing this midfield position where automatically people put him in this bracket of defense midfielder. He's not that. And this other bracket of, if he's not defensive, is he an attacking midfielder? Well, he's not that as well. He's not an Ødegaard, he's not an Eze, so he's not that either. He's this hybrid of just quality, reading the game, When his team is in danger and they're exposed and there's a transition counter-attack, he's the one who reads the game and almost with his pace and his tackling gets them out of a lot of trouble. It's why they're top of the league. He's a big impact on why Arsenal are top of the league and top of the Champions League.
And in terms of criticism of him, Paul Scholes says he's too emotional. What does he mean by that? And is it actually a bad thing, being too emotional? I mean, some of the most vocal captains were very emotional.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I've had dressing rooms where the captain is the first one to, for example, you come in at half-time and you're struggling or your team's not doing well, and captains come in and they're the most emotional ones because they feel the responsibility the most, and the vocal ones are the ones that come in and say, no, forget the manager of 1 second. This needs to happen, this needs to happen, this needs to happen. So I don't think he's too emotional at all. I actually think he's quite composed with it. I think he throws his hands up and all those things, but there's a composure about Declan Rice. That's what I see. Underneath, I think he is very composed. I think that's why he plays so well.
Do you see him as a future captain? I mean, I know you're Welsh, but you see him as a future England captain?
Oh, yeah.
Harry Kane. I mean, there are others who could be there, but could he be the England captain?
Oh, yeah, absolutely, yeah. The way he plays, the way he is. And I think what I love about Declan Rice, and this is somebody who I think he's grown on me more and more since he's moved to Arsenal. He is now one of the leaders, and he takes accountability. And I think that's what you want from a captain. Accountability, not just in shouting and raising your arms and all of these things. Accountability in making an impact in your team, defensively, attacking, whether he's assisting sometimes, but also how vocal he is and how composed he is and how much he takes away the dangers of the other team just under the radar. Without, in his contribution and defensively, 1v1s, he's so excellent at that. I love what he's doing there. So I think he's a future captain for England, absolutely.
All right, let's get the fans' perspective now, because Sky Sports are partnered with Finalysis to discover true fan opinions. Have your say in your club. Download the Finalysis app. Scan the QR code here for more details. And Scarlett Katz-Roberts joined us. Scarlett, great to see you. We'll talk about the title race in a moment, obviously, but Declan Rice, worthy of Ballon d'Or consideration?
Yeah, absolutely. But I mean, as you guys alluded to, a lot of that at the moment seems to be determined by the trophies you win. In terms of whether I think he has the quality, I absolutely do. And, he's crucial to an Arsenal team that, according to Igor Tudor, is the best in the world. So what more endorsement do you need?
Do you have a problem with Rice being called, too emotional?
Well, I don't know what Paul Scholes will talk about if Arsenal actually do win a major honour. Oh, I know. He'll probably say the league is too weak or something and it doesn't count. Personally, I think Rice is just the right amount emotional. I like to see players care on the pitch. I think the way he handled his mistake against Spurs on the weekend is actually a testament to his character, because he was the one, as you're showing now, pointing to his head and telling everyone to focus, and then he makes the mistake. So, no, I don't think he's too emotional. I think he's a leader in the team and on the pitch, and I think he's fine, Paul.
So, are you saying that you don't listen to Paul Scholes?
No comment.
I'll take that as a yes. I'll answer for you.
Do you see him as being your captain at some point and England captain too?
Yeah, I think in a lot of ways for Arsenal, he's a captain in all but name, isn't he? It's quite clear that he is a prominent voice in the dressing room. He's a prominent performer on the pitch in the big moments. We're talking about the Ballon d'Or. I'm thinking about those free kicks against Real Madrid, which no one could not take notice of. I think when the chips are down, Rice is someone who I look at and think, you are undeniable. And that gives me an immense amount of belief as a supporter.
But could you have Declan Rice in the top three? Is that what you're saying, that you'd be in the top three or even winning the Ballon d'Or?
Well, it's hard to rate, isn't it? Because you're sort of comparing him to, Lamine Yamal and sort of much more ephemeral and interesting attackers who are fun to watch. I don't think Rice is as fun to watch as some of the best attackers in the world.
Rodri's not an attacker. He won it.
Well, yeah. I mean, Rodri won the Ballon d'Or. City won the Champions League that year, didn't they? So in terms of the criteria that the Ballon d'Or is being judged on, it's hard to assess because I don't think Rodri at that time was one of the most engaging and beautiful players to watch in the world. But yeah, I think Rice is one of the best players in the world. I don't have a problem with saying that.
Did you feel that Rodri should have won the Ballon d'Or? Were you more about other players? So does that mean like a defensive type of player or this hybrid midfielder like Rice probably shouldn't win it?
I don't put too much stock in the Ballon d'Or. I'd rather have a trophy in the hands of Declan Rice in the Ballon d'Or. But I think I recognise that the players who are the most decorated are often the ones who go on to win the Ballon d'Or. Rodri was one of the best players in the world at the time. City were probably the best team in the world at the time. So fair play to him. I think there are many more exciting players in Europe than Rodri, and probably more exciting players than Declan Rice.
Is Declan Rice Arsenal's best player? Or is somebody else in his team should be a contender for the Ballon d'Or?
Yeah, because we talked about this season, haven't we, saying that in terms of your squad depth, the only one who's irreplaceable is Rice. That's what a lot of fans have said.
I think Saka is probably the poster child for this Arsenal team, even if the stats say that he hasn't had his best season. And I think in the North London derby, one of the things that was so enjoyable as an Arsenal fan was to see Saka at full tilt. There's other players with immense ability in the team and immense quality. I'm just thinking of Saliba and Gabriel. There's quality all over the pitch, but Rice is a standout player in that team. There's no doubt about it. So, yes, he's one of our best players. I don't know if he's the best player.
Well, we're doing a poll at the moment, actually, asking whether Declan Rice is a Ballon d'Or contender, which the viewers can still get involved with right now. Just see if we can see what the percentages are. Here we go. So no, 75% saying that no, he's not a Ballon d'Or contender. Of course, that could change if Arsenal win those trophies, which does appear, whether you agree with it or not, to be part of the criteria. Scarlett, we'll just end on the title race. How confident are you feeling now?
Well, contextually, I think the result against Spurs was huge, because I think City would have been looking at that game thinking Arsenal are creaking, and to respond in the manner we did was emotionally massive. I think the only caveat is, were we able to respond like that because Tottenham are rubbish? And I think Sunday will tell us the answer to that question.
You had to fit that in, didn't you?
Yeah, big game. OK, Scarlett, thank you.
Thank you.
And you see Arsenal's next game is against Chelsea. It's live on Super Sunday from 4 p.m. on Sky Sports Premier League.
Champions League action first of all, and Tim Sherwood and Lee Hendry have stayed behind for a bit of overtime, thankfully. They've been watching two dramatic games, it has to be said, in the Champions League playoff round. Tim, you were watching Real Madrid against Benfica. Lee, PSG against Monaco. Tim, let's start with you first of all, because it's just finished at the Bernabeu. And Real Madrid are through, but just. And I guess after all the build-up was dominated by Gianluca Prestiani, I guess it was fitting who got the winning goal.
I think so. He's a superstar, the kid. I mean, he misses his teammates, the likes of Ballon and Rodrigo and Mbappe. They never played tonight. They scraped through there tonight. I think the better team was the Benfica side. Jose Mourinho's side were well organised. They were really unfortunate. They went ahead. Rafa Silva give them the lead. Tchouaméni straight away gets Madrid back level. And then it was up to Vini Jr. Once he gets put in on the halfway line, he runs length of the half. And he's on that left-hand side. You just know he's going to open up his body and steer it past the goalkeeper into the bottom corner, and he does it perfectly. Then he runs over and a trademark celebration and dance by the corner flag. And it was well received at the Bernabeu. And congratulations to the kid. Took a lot of stick. He took a lot of noise surrounding the incident. And it was fitting that he was to score the winner for him.
And I guess given the build-up to this game, it was good to focus on the football, because it was a highly watchable game, this one, wasn't it?
It was a good game, and they made it really competitive. I didn't think there was, but then when I saw the teams, I thought, maybe they go about it a different way. Arbeloa might set about a little bit more defensive, Vini Jr. on the counter-attack, possibly. Nothing like that. I mean, it was just, we will score more than you. Arbeloa must throw them onto the pitch, must pick 11 players and say, do whatever you want, because that's the way they play. It's OK doing that when you've got the best players, but they haven't got the best players at the moment. But when they get them 3 names back, and maybe Howson as well at the back as well, Carvajal, who looks like he's back to fitness, then you can play however you want, and the fans will be delighted with it. I think they were getting very irritated watching that tonight because they continually giving the ball away in poor areas of the pitch. They've got good players, of course they have. But what we and Lee were talking during, he was watching a PSG game and I'm watching Real Madrid. These tournaments, I believe, the Champions League is won on moments by world-class players, and both these 2 teams have got world-class players. It's not about the best team. It's about getting lucky in the draw and having the moments at the right time. PSG certainly have to be in the frame. I don't think on that performance, with that side, they don't win it. But we know they're going to get stronger as the competition goes on.
Yeah, Real Madrid 2-1 winners on the night against Benfica, 3-1 on aggregate. Lee, you were watching PSG against Monaco. PSG, of course, the holders, and goodness me, they made hard work of it, didn't they?
I mean, first half, they were nowhere near what I've seen PSG. And, you know, you look at the quality that they have in that squad, the starting 11, and it felt that it just wasn't clicking into gear. And credit to Monaco, they came with a game plan. You know, they went to a back 3, a back 5 at times, counter-attacked. Aklouche was really influential for them, taking them up the pitch. Ballon was a focal point for them. You know, they asked more questions of PSG in that first half. And obviously, you know, you felt they go and get that first goal. You think, well, yes, can they hold on? Can they go and possibly get a second? You know, the unfortunate thing for them in that second half was the red card. 2 yellow cards for Koulibaly was absolutely destroying for them, because I think if they've got, you know, 11 on the pitch, they give themselves every single chance of going through. I mean, it finished 2-2 on the evening, you know, so that tells a bit of a story. PSG will give you a chance, there's no doubt of that. But you know that you need to defend gamely, because they have got so much talent on that football pitch, and they can turn to the bench to bring the quality that can go and win them games. But I'd say that they've sort of snuck through this evening.
You say snuck through because there was a massive chance right at the end.
Yeah, there was.
Former Leicester defender.
Yes, about Faz. I mean, he goes to head it. I mean, he's what, 4 yards out, and he goes to head it, comes off his shoulder. He's got no one near him, and it's a golden opportunity. You feel if they go and get that goal, that gives them every single chance of probably digging in defensively and maybe it going to penalties. And that's where you see one of the big clubs going out. This is where the big clubs know that they have to be, whether it's not quite at their game, but they know how to win games. They know how to get over the line, because this competition's big for, we've said, the big clubs, Real Madrid's, PSG's, Juventus are digging deep. You know, these are football clubs that have got players that have got experience of playing in this competition, and they know what's at stake.
Tim, Lee says the big clubs, Real Madrid, of course, the most prolific winners, Paris Saint-Germain, the holders. But come the last 16, we've got 6 English clubs who are going to be in that last 16. Do you foresee an English winner, and how big an opportunity is it for one of those?
I think they've got a wonderful opportunity, but I'd have to say that Bayern Munich look like the strongest side at the moment. I think you'd have to put Arsenal and Man City in amongst them too, that team. But I think when I've seen PSG, I know they warm into it. They did last season as well, and certainly the Real Madrid side I saw tonight, they can't win it. They can't win it without. I watched Barcelona at times. It's just a joy watching them play. But with the high line that they employ, they will get beat in this competition by teams who exploit them. Liverpool could go deep. I think they're suited towards it as well. The English teams want to stay clear of each other, because they know, I think they have, the evidence of what we saw tonight, you have more chance of beating, you know, the teams from Spain, and the Italian side scraped through as well, you know, certainly Atlanta tonight. We don't know what's going to happen with that Galatasaray and Juve thing. I've got my eye close on that one. Maybe Tottenham could draw them, you know, Athletic as well, go through. So, yeah, I would say they're right up there with a chance to win it, the English teams, but I think Bayern Munich just look irresistible at the moment.
You share that view, Lee?
I've said Arsenal. I feel like Arsenal they've got an equipped squad to really go and push on this season.
I couldn't say that.
No, you couldn't say that, but I'll say it. I've said this. I feel that Arsenal can go and win trophies this season, and I think looking at the sides that I've watched up to now, you know, I think Arsenal are equipped. But when we get to these sort of final stages of the competition, this is where the big clubs really step up and perform. This is where Arsenal, I feel that they've got the squad depth. It's whether they have got, you know, the sort of, I don't know what word I'm looking for. Whether they've got that calibre of squad nous. Yeah, nous. Yeah, cheers, Dams. No, but you know, it's massive in these competitions because people don't understand playing in Europe and, you know, playing in the domestic leagues. It's completely different. You know, there's a lot at stake. So that's the only reason I'd probably say that Arsenal might fail. But I do think they're strong enough to really go and compete this season.
Brilliant stuff. Thanks again for your time and staying on. Tim,
pleasure.
Lee, pleasure. See you next time.
Podcast, which is coming to you today from the Hill Dickinson Stadium, where Gary and I have just witnessed Manchester United coming up with what feels for them, Gary, like a huge win.
Huge win, and I don't know whether you were at that game with me pre-Christmas, Rob, where Ruben Amorim's the manager of Manchester United playing against 10-man Everton, and Everton go and win 1-0, and it feels like a complete and utter turnaround from that moment. Despair that night, you're thinking, where are Manchester United going? I remember being incredibly frustrated on commentary. I mean, Manchester United haven't played well tonight at all in the game. In fact, they were really poor in the quality. Maybe Everton's sort of what will be compact defensive shape, maybe having 10 days, 2 weeks off, just lost a little bit of rhythm. But what they have done is they've dug in and they've kept a clean sheet, which is a good thing. Good thing for Lenny Yoro, I think, coming in, because I think Martinez, before the game, when you heard that Martinez wasn't playing, you thought that could be a problem. Obviously, United's back four has been quite solid in the last couple of weeks. The goalkeeper, I thought, was my man of the match tonight. Not necessarily because he made loads of amazing saves, but everything he did, he just did really calmly and well. The tip over the bar at the end, there was a shot for him to Tariq George, wasn't it? That was just bounced in front of him and he just held it. And then Everton must have had about 8 or 9 corners. He didn't deal with every single one, but he dealt with a lot of them. And I think having a goalkeeper of composure who just does his job calmly, isn't frantic, isn't sort of rushing around, I think makes a big difference in moments like that when you come into a place like this and they're putting enormous pressure on you. So, look, it's a good night for Manchester United in a game whereby you'll say that they weren't at the best, but we got 3 points. And really big 3 points. Obviously, Liverpool getting that late win yesterday put a little bit of pressure on Manchester United, but they go up there into 4th now on the sort of shoulder of Aston Villa in a really great position. Obviously, Palace to come at the weekend, who are having a challenging time. So, yeah, that's a really important win tonight. I think, look, in terms of sort of things to look at, Manchester United still look like when they're playing against a team that sits deep, they just don't quite have the sort of what would be the sustained quality, tempo and sort of rhythm in the passing to be able to sort of really break through teams. They still look better on the counter-attack. And I have to say, and we'll come on to the goal, I'm sure, that's one of the best counter-attacking goals you'll see.
I just want to mention Ruben Amorim, though, as you brought his name up. I mean, he must be looking at these results now and wondering what the difference is. Is it as simple as the change of system that he was wedded to?
Look, I think obviously he got a number of things wrong when you look at what's happening now. I mean, not changing this. He did change the system a little bit in a couple of games, and it looked like that could be a way forward, but then against Wolves he went back the way. And that felt to me like the sort of terminal blow for Ruben Amorim. And then you look at sort of what happened with Kobbie Mainoo, and you look at Kobbie Mainoo out there playing alongside Casemiro, and they look like a very competent pair. I mean, Kobbie Mainoo looks like a football player. I mean, he looks like he can play the position really well. He looks like he can handle the ball, which he can. And he looks like he's back to his best. And I think that that's something that obviously stands out. The system of play, Kobbie Mainoo, injuries, AFCON, obviously Harry Maguire coming back. There are a number of things. The mood, obviously, of Michael, the composure of Michael, the thing that obviously I think has changed. Maybe they're liking more what they're seeing on the training pitch. So you put all those things together, but it's, you know, Ruben Amorim must be sat there at home watching Manchester United. I mean, I don't think he's a guy that will sit there and think that, you know, I can't believe this is happening. I think he'll be, you know, he's worked with a lot of these players and a lot of the staff. But I think he might be sat there thinking, what will I do differently in the future when I'm in that same position again and I get another job, and maybe I am sort of being a little bit stubborn and not quite sort of making the changes that the players want. But tonight, I thought Manchester United started quite well in the first 5 or 10 minutes, but then obviously just the real lack of quality, and I mean, it was almost called giveaway. It wasn't possession, it was giveaway for about half an hour between Everton and Manchester United. They were just constantly sort of making errors on the ball. And like I say, both teams, you didn't really have an idea about how both teams would score a goal. You knew that one goal was going to win it. It was a real, I mean, at half-time we sat there and thinking, I hope this improves. And I think Jamie Carragher said at half-time, this is the top 2 of the top 10 teams in the Premier League, and you're watching a game there, and there wasn't a lot. And at one point I wondered whether the pitch looked a little bit heavy. I don't know what you thought on that. I mean, did you think that or not?
It was unusual, wasn't it, to see a Premier League pitch like that,
yeah,
holding a bit of water.
Yeah, and I thought it looks perfect, and it hasn't been torrential rain like we've seen in the last few weeks. It's just a little bit of light drizzling. You think it's going to be absolutely perfect to zip it around, but it just didn't quite play like that, and the players maybe didn't. Obviously, the players didn't contribute to that either. But look, number of things. I think Everton, will be really frustrated. I think that all those set pieces they had in the second half, they'll have thought that maybe they should have got, well, they'll definitely think they should have got something out of those. The pressure that they were putting on the goalkeeper, the Manchester United defenders, they'll think that, was it 10 corners they had in that period? And you're thinking out of that, not necessarily directly from a corner, but even for when a second phase and the ball comes out, that you'll hit one, it'll deflect and it'll go in it. They didn't really create a chance. I can't remember a chance that they had from one of those corners, which is credit to Manchester United. He's now actually here doing an interview, Senna Larmans. I think he's actually doing it into the studio with Edwin van der Sar, which I think, to be fair, I wish I was listening to this. But listening to, here we go. Let's listen to this for a second. Yeah, Edwin's just saying there that obviously it's the first season in the Premier League, and you made a couple of good saves. You're dealing with things with your hands, your good composure. I've said it before, I'm not going to say it again, people will get tired of me saying it. I do think it's the most difficult position and most scrutinised position in English football, and I had my concerns when he came in. I thought, why would you take a chance with a goalkeeper who's young, who's not got the pedigree, who's played in a different league, who's going to come to Manchester United? He could eat him up, and it is early, but he looks like he's got the temperament, and he's got the technical quality, and he's doing the right things, and he holds the ball when he should hold it. He punches when he should punch it, but even when he punches, it's not one of those wild punches. It's just a solid sort of everything seems under control. And I like order in my goalkeepers. I don't like anything that's frantic, that demonstrates anxiety to a crowd. Because if you do that at Old Trafford, that's Stretford then behind you at one end and the K-stand at the other. If they can feel and smell that goalkeeper's not quite right and that they got a little bit of sort of nervousness about them, it won't go well. It will not go well. And this kid, to be fair, he's come in. I really have been impressed with him. And look, he looks like he's got a big, big future. Early days, but I'm not really sort of talking about this last 4 or 5 matches. I'm talking about when Manchester United were under significant pressure, and if you think about it, the clouds are circling under Ruben Amorim, and I still thought that he was doing quite well in that period. So now, in a team that's winning, he looks even better. But I think just overall throughout the whole period, coming in at a challenging time, an ever-changing defence, Ruben Amorim used to change his centre-backs every 10 seconds. I think he's done brilliantly well, and I give him man of the match today just purely because I thought he actually contributed to Manchester United's clean sheet, probably more than the 4 defenders who did really well too.
We're going to talk more in a moment about goalkeepers because that has been the theme of the night on Monday Night Football, but we're going to take a more historical angle. But you've spoken about the goalkeeper. What about the goal scorer? Because Šeško had a rough time as well under Amorim. It didn't seem like he could score. Now the goals are coming more freely. Has he done enough to earn a starting place?
If he's not there, he's certainly right on the door, and he should be banging down on Michael Carrick. I think I liked his celebration. Because I'd like to see aggression from him. He's 6'4". I mean, he should be beating centre backs up. And there's a little bit when you saw him earlier on in the season, he looked a little bit timid, a little bit upright, and just now he's just starting to have a little bit more power about him. And to me, he's quite quick when he actually gets going, and you see him sort of make his moves forward. But that celebration, I thought, was a message to everybody. I mean, also mainly those Manchester United fans over in the corner who were going wild. But that was a message to say, get me in this damn team now. This is my start. I start next time. I think he'll be really disappointed, having scored the goal against West Ham, which is a wonderful goal, not to be in that team today. You say he had a difficult time under Ruben Amorim, absolutely, but Michael Carrick's not started him yet in any game.
Yeah.
So he's obviously, to be fair, preferring other players, it's fair to say. However, what he's now done in these last 3 games, the winner against Fulham, the West Ham goal, which was a big goal to get a point out of that game where United didn't play well, and then this today, a winner in a game where, again, Manchester United haven't played well. It was a world-class counter-attack. And absolutely, I mean, I always think the best Manchester United goals, my favourite Manchester United goal ever is the actual Ronaldo header away in, I think it was Rome, in the Champions League. I've never seen anything like it. It's like monumental. But then when you put the other goals in there, I always think of counter-attacking goals. The goal at Arsenal in the Champions League, another goal at Arsenal, I think, in the league. Just amazing, quick, devastating counter-attacks are what I believe, I see when I think of a Manchester United goal. That is as good as you'll see. The Cunha pass is absolutely sensational. And then Burmo, that's when he's at his absolute best. When you think of him at Brentford or you think of him at his best at United in these last few months, is when he's running on to play the counter-attacking. And United are a better counter-attacking team than they are actually trying to break teams down. And then you see Sesko's run, and it's the classic. And he's got a bit to do. He's got a good goalkeeper in front of him, and he just really solidly hits it into the corner. And I don't know how long, it must have been 5 or 6 seconds from the point it was cleared out of the box. But it was a brilliant goal. And for Sesko now, I think on Sunday against Crystal Palace, I think he starts. And I haven't always been convinced about him this season. But what you have to do, I think, is move with what you see. And I think there is a moment now where the United have just struggled in the last couple of games against West Ham and Everton. He looks like he's growing in his game and in his body, and he looks like he's got more power in his sort of performance. His confidence is high. And I think now on Sunday, I think Michael Carrick starts him. Just feeling how Michael will look at that, I think it would kill the lad if he didn't start on Sunday. So I think what you'll see on Sunday is probably Cunha to the left, then Burmo to the right. I think Sesko up top, and I think you'll see Bruno obviously in behind. And I think that Ahmad will just slip out for a game, which is not he's been really good, Ahmad, but I think Sesko starts Sunday because I don't think you can't not start him. Scoring 3 games on the bounce, scoring winners and equalisers, doing what he's done tonight, you've got to put him in. I think, to be fair, before the game today, I thought, will he play him? I thought he might play him just because Everton, I think, have conceded more headed goals from crosses than most of the teams. And I thought, Sesko in there obviously is more of a threat than Cunha or Mbeumo, but decided to go with those 4 that I like. I like the 4 up top. They're really lively and bright. But if teams are going to sit deep against you, which I think, to be fair, West Ham did, Everton did, Crystal Palace are likely to maybe do on Sunday, then maybe Sesko's a bit more, obviously he's got a lot more presence and maybe it'll suit him. So I think he starts Sunday and he deserves it. A lot of pressure. I just said before about the biggest pressure, I think, in English football. I think he's a Manchester United goalkeeper, but not far behind that would be a striker who comes for big money to United. Because if you don't score goals, and it was saying back in my day, people think that the pressure was just applied to players here. When Andy Cole didn't score for a long time and Diego Forlan didn't score for a long time at United, there was big pressure building on those players. Teddy Sheringham in his first season at Manchester United, when he came in for Eric Cantona, he got absolutely hammered. So I think that when you come in as a striker with a big price tag, you've got to deliver, and he's starting to deliver. He really is.
Is there a danger that you make yourself too useful in doing it from the bench, that a manager will keep you back for when a team's tiring, and that situation with the break just suits you and suits that player?
Yeah, I mean, look, there is a danger that maybe that he's sort of getting that super subs type title, but I don't think he's that type. I think he's a starting player. I don't think he's a super sub. He has been a super sub in the last few games because he's needed to be. But I don't think he is someone. I think he's someone now that Michael will look at and think, right, okay, I've not started you in a single game, by the way. I've preferred other players, which sends a clear message that I like other players instead of you. However, on Sunday, I'm going to play you because I think you deserve it, and I like you now in front of them. So he's worked his way into a position the hard way through Ruben Amorim, which was a struggle for him, coming in with that price tag. And then, you look at how Cunha and maybe Mbeumo have settled in a lot quicker because they played in the league before. This kid's younger, and he's obviously not played in the Premier League. And he just looked a little bit awkward. But we saw Gyökeres yesterday. I thought Gyökeres was his best performance of the season for Arsenal, and he's at times been below par and sort of tried to get up to speed. I think Sesko's been like that at times during this season, but he looks a lot more confident. I don't think he's ever going to be the perfect striker, similar like I said yesterday about Gyökeres, but if he can be a handful, if he can contribute with goals, if he can hold things up, if he can link play, then that'll be enough. That will be enough, because you don't have to be always perfect. And today, like you say, I think it's a big moment for him. He starts on Sunday. I don't think he will be a super sub. I think that, he will end up getting into the team. And if he gets into the team, he's on 7 goals now, or 8 goals?
8 goals now, yeah.
8 goals. I mean, now if he can sort of... How many games have United got left? 10? 11?
11 now.
11.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So if he can get another 4 or 5 and finish this season in double figures... Yeah, I think to be fair, in his first season, with the struggle that the team were having at the beginning... I think that would be deemed to be a good season. So he's got all in front of him to play for, and I think he will. I say Crystal Palace. He a bit of a damp squib now, wouldn't it? If he doesn't start, he will start. Yeah. I'm pretty convinced.
Okay, we shall see. How do you read the Champions League race now? Villa and Chelsea dropping points this weekend. Liverpool getting a victory that, in the eyes of many, they didn't necessarily deserve, but it is looking quite strong now, isn't it, for Manchester United, that situation?
Yeah, I mean, there was a period for that 5 or 6 weeks where they played games where you kept thinking they could go into the top 4 and they didn't, and now they are. They've got an incredible opportunity to finish in the top 4. I think they will. I think the other teams start playing in Europe. They've got distractions. United haven't got any distractions. I mean, that doesn't necessarily mean they've had no game for 2 weeks and haven't played particularly well here today, but I just think they're now starting to get over the line in games where they wouldn't have done before. And yeah, I think they've got look, it's too early to say. I think they could finish 3rd. I really do think they could finish 3rd. And I think I said a couple of weeks, I thought Villa might just get pulled back a little bit. Like I say, these teams have got European football in front of them, and that's a big distraction. And Manchester United don't have that. And I think they're in a decent place. You look at the players out there, they go over to celebrate tonight, look like they're in a decent sort of mood. They're winning when they play well. They're winning when they don't play well. They're picking up points when they didn't play well at West Ham. So all of the right things are starting to happen. They've hit a really good run. I do think they'll finish 3rd or 4th. I mean, I've probably said at times in this last 3 months, Manchester United have no chance of finishing the Champions League. But this is just a bizarre season. Teams are dropping points. Chelsea dropped points against Burnley on Saturday. Villa dropped points. Liverpool obviously did win in the end. But yeah, I think United get there now, and that'll be a sort of big move in terms of where they were last season. I think it'll be a big move to get into Champions League football, and where they were a few weeks ago, obviously when they sack a manager, and you don't think for the life of you that they can go and beat Arsenal and Manchester City and everyone else that they've beaten in this last few weeks. So it's been an incredible points total that's been pulled together, and I think they're now, I won't say clear favourites to finish in the top 4, but they are in pole position.
And a word about Everton. Strange turnaround in their season. They were doing really well here. Tottenham came and won, and since then it's been a little bit sticky for them. No win in 6 at their new stadium now.
Yeah, I was here for the Tottenham game, and it was a really strange day where Tottenham, I think, scored from 2 corners. I think Van der Ven scored 2, did he? Yeah, he did, yeah. Yeah, I was here doing the commentary, and it was my first time actually in this stadium, and I was expecting this exciting atmosphere. But obviously you don't get that when your team are losing 2-0. But yeah, I've been here twice and seen them beaten twice. I actually thought tonight they were game, they were dogged, they were organised. They got beaten by a sensational goal from a counter-attack the full length of the pitch. And it was always going to be about one moment or quality or one mistake. I think that what David Moyes, I think at the end of the season will just want a higher contribution from his board and the ownership around, he needs some players, doesn't he? Because I think what he's getting out of these players here and the position they are in the league and the points total they have is absolutely fantastic. Because out on that pitch, it's not a spectacular team. It's not a spectacular. They've got a very good set of pros who put a real shift in, and that, to be fair, is a great quality. You can't criticise any of them lads out on that pitch tonight. I always say if you're an Everton fan leaving this stadium, they'll be really disappointed. But what they'll never do is question the actual sort of what would be commitment of the players out on that pitch. You can't. You can see they're giving everything, but they just need that 3 or 4 players, don't know? And every team probably needs 3 or 4 players. But if they had an Mbeumo you know, a sort of that type of player, a player that maybe even sort of exists sort of at other clubs. They don't seem to have. They've got NJ down here, which is, you know, he's lively and he's good. But they just need 2 or 3 players, don't they, that just can give them that little bit of quality to go with the solidity and reliability of the other lads that they've got. And they could then jump up into sort of that 8th, 7th and be challenging in those positions. But they're going to need that good recruitment to be good, and they're going to need supporting, and David Moyes is going to need backing. And these Everton fans deserve that, apart from that bloke who's having a go at me for the last half an hour of the match.
You've had a bit of earache, have you?
For about half an hour. Did you hear him?
I was too busy
God, he wouldn't
concentrating.
shut up. Honestly. But, yeah, so I think that, you feel for Everton, obviously, in the sense that tonight they put an awful lot into the game. I think probably they shaded it territorially in that second half. I thought that they put a lot into it. But quality in open play wasn't good enough. And then the quality from the set pieces. And look, they put a lot of pressure on Manchester United's defence by sort of scrumming underneath United's sort of bar with centre Lammers. But then you think to yourself, well, if they'd just lined up Tarkowski, Keane, who was out there, Beto, Barry, Branthwaite, and just let them charge in sort of at the 6-yard box at Harry Maguire to have a real good head at it. You think to yourself, well, would they have had more chance? I don't know. I mean, look, I actually think sometimes you should put it right on top of the goalkeeper and really let him feel that you're there and see whether he can handle it. And I'd say that one thing, when you come into this league as a goalkeeper, the first thing that every other team are going to do is say, can he handle it? Can he handle the physical side? Can he handle the ball being put on top of him? And that's the biggest test that Stella Larmans has actually handled tonight. Because I think when other teams look at it now, they'll think, that's maybe not a tactic that can bug him. You know, that won't bother him. So now they'll just come away from him a little bit, maybe. But I just thought Everton tonight on the set pieces and in the open play didn't have that little bit of a spark and creativity and quality to unlock the door. And United's resilience and their good defending meant that ultimately it was a frustrating night for them. But I've got nothing negative to say about Everton, because I think the quality that they have is the quality that they have. They haven't got it. They haven't invested sort of what would be hundreds of millions. They haven't invested in Cunha and Mbeumo, which if Everton had those 2 players out there tonight, it would be a different story. But they haven't got that sort of wealth. So, I wouldn't be too disheartened if I was an Everton fan, but I think they'll be disappointed that they just want more, don't they? But they're not anywhere near relegation where they have been at times in the last 4 or 5 years.
So just finally, we're going to come back to goalkeepers, because we've had Edwin van der Sar tonight, and Jamie Carragher has been naming his top 10 goalkeepers in Premier League history. So I think I may know the answer to this, but who's your number 1?
Number 1 goalkeeper without hesitation in Premier League history is Peter Schmeichel.
Okay, I thought you might say that. He's actually his number 2. So can you...
Peter Schmeichel's Carragher's number 2.
Carragher's
Who's he got number
2?
1?
Yeah, he has gone with Petr Cech.
Interesting.
Who had a long career
in
the Premier League with a couple of different clubs.
What I'm not going to start doing now is start sort of laying into Petr Cech.
No.
I mean, I think Petr Cech's a sensational goalkeeper for a long time at Chelsea. I wouldn't have him above Schmeichel. I don't think I'd have him above David Seaman.
So would they be your top 3 in whatever order?
I'm trying to think, to be fair. You caught me a little bit off guard in a sense.
I can tell you again, looking at Jamie Carragher's list.
Who's he got?
Well, David Seaman is actually number 9 on his list. Yeah,
He's got 8 better goalkeepers than David Seaman.
Yeah, so he's got.
Well, he can't have seen David Seaman that much or played with him. Mm-hmm. I mean, David Seaman was a sensational goalkeeper. In my mind. I mean, I was lucky enough to play with both Schmeichel and Seaman at the same time. And at that time, they were both battling it out for who was the number 1 in the Premier League. And it was close. It was close. I mean, I say that without hesitation. David Seaman was you talk about composure and calmness and size and making the difficult things look easy. David Seaman was a sensational goalkeeper. I mean, absolutely incredible. But sometimes with David Seaman, what gets remembered actually is that goal
against Brazil,
yeah, which goes over his head.
Yeah. And
I think he also conceded one from a corner, I think, at St Mary's for England, where similarly it went on. But I think David Seaman might have been like 35, 36, 37 at that point and getting on in years. But David Seaman for about 5, 6, 7, 8 years, I mean, was absolutely unbelievable in a formidable defence, by the way.
Yeah.
You know, Arsenal famous back four. in front of him. No, I'd have David Seaman in my top 3. I'd have David Seaman. I'm trying to think of the others. Obviously, you've got Alisson, haven't you? That's in the modern era.
Yeah, he's number 3 on the Jamie Carragher top 10.
Yeah, I wouldn't have him in front of Cech. I wouldn't have him in front of Cech, Seaman, and Schmeichel, Alisson.
I'll tell you his top 4 and 5. De Gea is 4, and Thibaut Courtois number 5.
Courtois, I love, by the way. I mean, Courtois. I'd have Courtois in my top 3, by the way, if I was thinking about his Real Madrid career. So if I was thinking about Courtois coming out of the Premier League and doing what he's done since, then yeah, if that's what we're doing, I'd put Courtois right up there. I mean, I think he's absolutely brilliant. What's the criteria? Whilst they've played in the Premier League, or is it actually sort of in their careers and they've been in the Premier League? Because then
the criteria is top 10 goalkeepers in Premier League history, so it suggests, doesn't it? And it's
whilst they've been in the Premier League. Yeah, well, I'd go Schmeichel. I'd go Seaman. I'd go Van der Sar. And I'd have them joint second, really, thinking about it. There wouldn't be much between them. I'd have Cech probably 4th. I'd have Alisson, Ederson. Am I missing anybody out here, sort of in the mid-times?
I'm just looking down the list. Jamie has got Ederson at number 7. He's actually got Neville Southall in his top 10. He's 8th.
Did he play in the Premier League? I mean, look,
if
we're going back before Premier Leagues, we're going back. I mean, is it Premier League?
Yeah, it is Premier League.
So how many games did Neville Southall play in the Premier League?
I couldn't tell you exactly how many in the Premier League, but obviously the majority of his career was pre-Premier League, wasn't it?
Right. Right. Let me run through it again. I am doing this on the sort of...
On the hoof.
On the hoof. Schmeichel, Seaman, Van der Sar. He's got De Gea above Van der Sar?
He has, yeah.
No, that can't happen.
Don't forget, he's got Cech number 1, who you've not mentioned yet.
Yeah, no, but I know I'm coming to him at 4 and 5.
Yeah, fine. Just wanted to remind you.
So he can't have. He's not got De Gea above Van der Sar.
Yep, he's got De Gea 4.
No,
Van der Sar 6.
No, that can't happen. That's not right. It's not right. I mean, it's simply not right. I mean, let's be clear. So, Schmeichel, Seaman, Van der Sar. Who did I go the 4th then? Cech, did I go?
Cech, yeah.
Cech 4th. Cech 4th. I'll go Alisson 5. Ederson 6. Courtois purely because of Courtois at Chelsea, not the one that's gone on to do things for Real Madrid at 7. 8. I'm trying to think of someone else. Who's in his...
Well, the other one in his top 10 who I don't think I've mentioned yet, at number 10, is Pepe Reina, who had that run of 3 seasons, didn't he, when he won the Golden Glove?
No. 8, 9, 10. I'm trying to think of other goalkeepers.
Joe Hart? Would Joe Hart get in there?
Yeah, maybe. Maybe for 3 or 4 seasons at City. I'm trying to think who else. We're missing some obvious ones here.
I think we've mentioned most of those who would probably have been in Jamie's list of contenders.
I mean, if you're thinking about, Martinez is a good goalkeeper.
Yeah.
Am I up to number 7 or 8?
I've lost track. We could have done with writing these down.
Could you give me some preparation here for this?
Oh dear.
Oh, Peppa Pig at number 8.
So you've gone Schmeichel undoubtedly as your top.
Schmeichel, Seaman, Van der Sar, Cech, Alisson.
Yep.
Ederson, Courtois.
Yep.
That's 7.
Yep. And then...
I mean, does Donnarumma come into it? I mean, if...
Well, yeah, it's your choice. Has he been here long enough?
No. I mean, but obviously, if you're putting him in terms of goalkeepers... I'm trying to think of the goalkeepers that we've had in the league. Jens Lehmann?
Yeah, he's not on Jamie's list.
I mean, I'd have Jens Lehmann before Pepe Reina. Jens Lehmann, I'll go him at 8. He won the League too, didn't he?
Yep.
Yeah, I'll go Jens Lehmann. I thought he was a... I mean, when he was a player, wasn't he? But I love him to bits now when I meet him. He's mad, wasn't he? Man, so was I. Still am. Number 8, goalkeepers. We're at number 8. We can't even think of 10.
So the ones you're ruling out of his list are Rayner and Southall, aren't they?
Yeah. No. I mean, look, Neville Southall, if you're talking about...
Yeah, pre-Premier League.
Pre-Premier League, oh, God, I mean, Neville Southall, right up there. But I don't think we're doing that because Neville Southall will be higher up then. If we're doing Premier League, I'm at 8. Who did I put in at 8 then? Sorry. Who did I put in?
I need to write these down.
I put Jens Lehmann in. I put Jens Lehmann after Courtois. Jens Lehmann, number 8. All right, here we go.
Are we being unfair in looking at goalkeepers just from successful teams? And if you look at somebody like Jordan Pickford, for example,
I mean,
who's had such a long spell with England,
Yeah.
so many clean sheets, played in a team that has struggled over the years.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, look, I put Joe Hart probably before Jordan Pickford just because of what he did at City. But you're right. You don't necessarily tend to look sometimes at a goalkeeper. I mean, Ben Foster did a great job for many years in the Premier League, and Tim Flowers did a fantastic job at Blackburn. Nigel Martin at Leeds, you know, and going back to keepers that I played with. Well, we're going for a top 8, aren't we?
Yeah, let's leave it.
Let's just
like
leave
that.
it there.
Yeah, top 8. We've got the top 8 out of you.
I don't think Edwin van der Sar will agree with his assessment, with Carragher's assessment. But I mean, anyway, we'll see, won't we?
Yeah.
So I'll probably have to put 2 in because they'll probably put mine up alongside his, aren't they? And then let some people vote on it of some kind. I'm going to put Joe Hart in at 9. I'm going to put Tim Flowers at 10. But
You're going to be phoning in your new choices tomorrow, aren't you?
yeah, because to be fair, I've run out of ideas. Who's been Tottenham's goalkeepers over the years?
Well, they had Lloris.
Oh,
didn't they,
Lloris.
for a long time, yeah.
Yeah. Lloris, who else has been Tottenham's goalkeepers?
You had Vicario. They've had a spell with Friedel.
No.
I think Lloris would be your best bet to be looking at Tottenham, wouldn't it?
What other clubs have we had in? What other clubs have we had in? Tim Howard did well at Everton for a number of years. Who was the goalkeeper before Alisson at Liverpool? I mean,
Probably was Rayner, really.
Was it Rayner? Was it Carragher for a bit and Rayner, and then who's before Rayner?
Well, you're going.
David James, maybe, was it?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, I think that's the end of the podcast.
We've stumped you at last. We've left you
coming.
speechless.
Thank you for coming to the Gary Neville podcast. We can't think of 10 keepers.
Yeah, thanks for joining us on the podcast.
Thank you.
Great topics we've been talking about with Jamie O'Hara. This first one, in fact, the first few are on Manchester United. This is from Gaz about whether Carrick deserves the job beyond the summer.
So why can't the owners and the board see what the fans are seeing? We've got a bit of balance, we've got the team playing right, we've got players playing in the right position. Why don't they just think he might be the right man for the job? What are they going to do any different by appointing one of their so-called right man for the job down the line that Carrick ain't doing now? I just don't...
Morning, boys. This is Bash from Winslow in Cheshire. Carrick, give the boy the job. His results have been miraculous, is an understatement, to be fair. And we've been down the route of the other managers, Jose Mourinho, Van Gaal, Amrin. We've been there, done that. Give the lad the job.
That was Bash, and the next one, we've got one more actually, we may as well play it out. It's from Kev.
Man United should just give Michael Carrick the job. They should do exactly what Arsenal did. Arsenal brought Arteta back and they've given him a 5-6 year plan. United should do the same. They should give him a 5-6 year plan. Give him the chance and the opportunity to build a squad, a proper squad around him and his ideas with the United did, him and his DNA.
So it's interesting there that all of those fans were unanimously Carrick the job. But one point to pick up there from the last one from Kev, said give him that 5-year plan.
Yeah.
Manchester United have been talking about 5-year plans for a lot longer than 5 years, and they're still talking about starting it again.
Yeah.
That's something that I'm kind of not sure is the right thing to do. But in terms of giving it to Carrick, sounds like those fans certainly are for it.
Yeah, I think Carrick is definitely in the running. I don't think the owners are dismissing Carrick. I think they're just going to play a waiting game.
They were at first, weren't they? It was our understanding that they were at first. It was very much till the end of the season.
Yeah, I don't think Carrick thought that, though. I think Carrick would have thought that we're going in there, it's an opportunity, and an opportunity that he's took with both hands. As I said, there is no reason to force it now. You don't need to. Just wait till the end of the season and see where the club is at, the state of the club, the performances, the attitude of the players towards Carrick. You know, this is a big move. They don't want to mess it up again. So I think there's no reason to make a decision right now. I agree, Carrick. I would give Carrick, if he carries on doing what he's doing, and the performances have been really good. As I said, they're not in all competitions; they're just in one, so that helps. But if he carries on doing what he's doing, I would give him the job. I do think he's a really good manager, and I like what he's about. I like his calmness. You know, I just think he'd do a good job. I think he's got good staff there. So I would definitely give him that platform. You talk about a 5-year plan. I don't think Man United are that far away. They have got a really good team, and if they add a few more, all right, they're going to lose Casemiro. But if they go out and buy a top quality, centre half, a top quality centre midfielder, maybe a fullback, I don't think Man United are a million miles away from winning the Premier League. I really don't. They've got to be a bit more like Arsenal in terms of their pressing and their attitude and seeing out games. But they have got, for me, 3 of the best players in the Premier League. You know, you've got Mbeumo, Cunha, Sesko. You've got Kobe Manu, who's a top player. I don't think they're a million miles away. I really don't. And I think there's work to do there for Carrick, but I don't think it'll take 5 years.
So, OK, if they're not a million miles away, what do they need to do to actually be contenders? If not, you said win, didn't you? Winning the Premier League. What else needs to happen? Can they do it in one more? Is it just transfers, one more window?
I think recruitment is massive for them. I think recruitment's key. When you look at it, I don't think they'll win the Premier League next season. I don't think because of the fact that if you're looking at Arsenal and you're looking at Man City in terms of how far down the line they are with their rebuilds and with their structure, they're in better positions. Man United are a huge football club. They can attract some of the best players in the world. If they see that Man United all of a sudden are in the Champions League, they're performing well, they're paying decent wages because they always can, they're seeing that all of a sudden Man United are back, then you can get some of the top, you can get the best players. You can go after the best players. So the recruitment is key. We've seen over the last 10 years how bad Man United's recruitment's been, how many letdowns they've had that have come into that football club, and they've lost fortunes, billions of pounds on players who have not done the business. They've got it right with Cunha, they've got it right with Mbeumo. If they continue to get the recruitment right, I genuinely think that I don't think they are that far away from contending for the title.
Given the way that they are performing against the odds, against these bigger sides, Micah.
Yeah, I mean, it's an absolute amazing story. I think a lot of people looking at this fixture and thinking, OK, first leg, was it a fluke? By no means was it a fluke at all. This team has got real quality. They showed that against Dortmund, showed that against Atletico away. And then to be into twice is just an amazing achievement. What a story it is. And they fully deserve it because they've got some top quality players. I know it was going to be difficult. They had to ride a look at times in that low block. But then when they go forward with numbers. They've got that impetus. And most importantly, they've got that quality. Hague, how we pronounce his name. He is a special talent. He really is.
Well, you better learn. We're going to speak to him.
Oh, well, he can tell me later.
I mean, I guess you look at the first leg and you think you have the excuses of the sub-zero conditions, the plastic pitch. It's hard to justify now, Jamie.
No, it is. And listen, it's not a great look for Inter Milan, but I was really interested in seeing the coach at the end, Kivu, and the way he sort of shook the hand of the opposition coach, Bodo Glimt, and he you could see there was a respect there, a bit like you were better. You were better in both legs in this game. But when you think about Inter Milan with a budget of 230 million to Bodo Glimt with 66 million, it tells you the big difference between the clubs. But listen, we know that through the names, the history. But the really impressive thing when you think of actually the football is that we're watching this team, and I did the analysis before the game, and we're talking about them being compact and difficult to beat, and it was tough for Inter Milan in the first half. But don't forget, they dominate their own league. So it's very difficult to be a team who, when you play in your own league, you dominate the ball, you're on the ball, and then when you come up against supposedly superior opposition, you can play a game where you only have 30% of the ball. Normally, you know, teams are one or the other. Because of the situation they find themselves in the league they're from as well, they can do both. And honestly, I've loved watching them, loved analysing them today and doing the clips before the game. And I thought Inter would find a way somehow of just sneaking through. But I thought it would be really tough for them. But I'm absolutely delighted they're through because they deserve it.
You saw the pictures of the empty stands over there. Obviously, Inter fans had long filed out. But for the fans that made that trip, this is such a special experience for those players who probably never imagined that they would be in this situation. It's got to be an incredible moment in their careers.
It is, but what's incredible, and I don't want to not talk about what you said because the story is outstanding, but I really want to go about what we talked about. We talk about money, we talk about names. Nothing beats a team. I don't care what you say. Now, if you have money and you have names and you have a team, then you do trebles. If you don't have that, I don't care about your money. What they do, they attack and they defend together, regardless of where they are, whether they're low, whether they're in the middle, where they attack, obviously, as I just said. That's a proper team. And we should all, you know, remember that it's a team game. We always talk about it. That's exactly what football should be about. And that's a lesson for everybody to watch. Kids, that's a team. And I love the best thing that I love tonight, for me, is what Hauge did, or Hauge, however his name is. When he scored, he celebrated. Then he looked at his guy. I think it was Bloomberg or the right one, 1v1 on the mistake of Akanji. And he looked at him and said, why you didn't pass the ball? You love, but that's the message. That's a team that wants to fight for each other, for one another. We've seen it everywhere in Europe, by the way, because they did. And we talked and we mentioned it. We talked about the pitch. Yes, they played like that against Dortmund. They played like that against Atletico. They played like that again tonight. And I was wondering if the big dogs, when I say the big dogs, obviously Inter Milan, could just, okay, you embarrassed us at your place. Show us what you can do. Well, they did show you exactly what a team is about. And Inter is not that team anymore. That was very lethargic. You could see what they were about to do. Nobody was dribbling. Crosses very early, very predictable to what they were doing and how they approached the game. But again, like I said, I love to see a team like that. It's very refreshing in the sense that this is how football should be. It doesn't matter what you have here or the name at the back is what you have in your heart. And that's what you see with Bodo Glimt. That's all it is. So well done to them, well deserved. I don't have anything to say with Inter or whatever. You deserve to be there by a mile.
Let's take you out to Milan. There we go. Alessandro, Marco, what are your thoughts? How do you process that one?
It's hard to not appreciate the Cinderella story of Bodo, and their approach to the match was just fantastic. They were organized, defended, and then allowed them to make the mistake. And when you look back at it, Ale, what we kept saying, it's the first leg that probably gives you a lot of disappointment, and they were never able to get it going tonight.
Yeah, you're right. And then Terry bring a great point. You know, team is a victory by a team. In everything they do, they play as a team. And I want to add one more thing, the love of the game. The love for the game. I mean, they love to run for each other. They love to pass the ball and to find new solutions, to play by the rules that they put together. And this passion, this love, make the difference. So, well deserved for them. On the other side, I'm really, really disappointed, to be honest. Really disappointed because, you know, going back and see what happened the first leg, for Inter and from Kivu, change a lot of players. Now, today, no energy, no special effort. In order to win this game, you need a special effort. You need to put something more than what you usually do. I didn't see that. So, it seems like, you know, we're going to win or we're going to lose. Doesn't matter, we play the next one. No, this is Champions League. It's in and out. So it's not the league titles that you are comfortable with 7 points ahead. So that's the disappointment where it comes from. And beside economics and numbers of players that you have and blah blah blah, budget and blah blah blah.
Absolutely, and I think that was the feeling from a lot of the fans leaving San Siro, is the disappointment after going to the final. And Kate, you'll be happy to hear that we have a lot of the Bodo players that want to speak to you. Hauge, we'll also see if Jamie's doppelganger will come by and maybe we can do a live side by side.
Yes, I'd like to do that. All right, very cool. Thank you. Good to see you guys. See you in a minute. Christian Kivo, I guess I'm wondering, do you think he'll come under some scrutiny after this result, or does it not matter because of...
No, it does matter.
Okay.
It does matter big time. I keep on saying to you that they were top of the league in Italy by default. I said that a long time ago. We've been talking about it. The best team in Italy to play football is Como. We can talk about budget. We can talk about players in the team. I'm just saying that at the moment, and I think it was last week when you asked me surprise, I said the Italian team are where they're supposed to be at the moment. Unfortunately, and we're going to talk to Alessandro. He said it before. We're going to talk to Alessandro tomorrow because we're going to be in the same situation, the Italian team that has to come back into it. But right now, are you surprised with, okay, when you see Bodo Glimt Inter, you're kind of like, oh, what a surprise. But when you watch the game, there's no surprises, really, in terms of how the two teams played. One played together with the right attitude and everything above that you need to be as a team, as I mentioned before. And the other one played in a lethargic manner with not a lot of intensity in the game to be able to come back against any team in the world, even less against Bodo Glimt. So they are where they're supposed to be. Yeah, he's going to have to answer the question of why so many players that didn't play there and why did it take the time so in an easy manner, if I can say, when they played in Bodo Glimt, because they have the Lecce game and they wanted to be 10 points ahead, which they are in the league now, 10 points ahead. But if we talk about the Italian league, it doesn't have a lot to answer with because it's top of the league with 10 points. Now, if we talk about the Champions League, it's going to have to answer some questions, that's for sure.
Yeah, I mean, Napoli were already out before this stage, weren't they? They didn't make the cut for the playoffs. Then obviously Inter go out tonight. You've got Juventus and Atalanta who both have to kind of try and turn around deficits tomorrow. So Italian football team's definitely struggling. It's kind of weird when you think about the fact that Inter's a team we've seen do so well in these two-legged playoffs traditionally, especially recently.
Yeah, listen, they have been the real standout in Italian football in the last few years. Obviously getting to two finals. I mean, last season was a bit of a nightmare for them in some ways. You couldn't even sort of champion the fact that they got to the final last season because they were embarrassed so badly by PSG. They were obviously a couple of years before that. They were very unlucky not to beat Manchester City in the final. Missed a couple of chances later on, but they were a really top team with a top manager. But as Thierry says, it's like Inter Milan have sort of almost dropped with the rest of the Italian teams. And the fact they've got a big lead in Serie A, that's all you need to know. We've seen Liverpool go there and win. When Liverpool were having an absolute nightmare, in the Premier League and even in some games in Europe as well. Arsenal go there. I think three of the best players were on the bench. They win there so easily. And we want football to be competitive around Europe and the Champions League and to have sort of different teams from every country. But Italian football now looks like it's in a really bad place.
So how do you go from Thierry, from getting the Champions League final to displays like tonight? What's changed in terms of, is it the coaching? Is it the tactics?
Look,
was it just Bodo are a good team?
Bodo are a good team. There's nothing now. There's no question about that because of against who they did it, and at times again, and then had to that's twice now against Inter. They couldn't do it twice against the other team because they were in the league phase, right? But if you go to Inter, they went to 2 Champions League finals. They lost their coach. It's not easy to have a new coach. And I'm not having a go at Kivu. The question was, were there going to be questions raised about what he's done? Yes, in the Champions League, not so much in the league because you are ahead, but it is different. They attack in a different manner. You remember the centre-back interchanging, the 3 midfielders going low to build. The 3 centre-backs were going in midfield. That doesn't happen anymore. It's not the same. It seems like I said to you when I talk about being lethargic, okay? Then I talked about it was predictable. They were unpredictable last year playing against big team. You didn't know what they were about to do. Bastoni was crossing for the other centre back on the right. Obviously, he's the centre back on the left. It looks like at this team, the Inter Milan of Simone Inzaghi was ready to play against big teams, and they were struggling sometime against team at the bottom of the league. This team struggled against everybody, apart from obviously in the league. In the league, they managed to win and changing every time, and the rotation that they always have sometimes is a bit difficult to find a partnership that they need to have. But tactically, it is not the same Inter as the one of Simone Inzaghi. And then, are you going to judge Kivu just because he didn't win or go far in the Champions League? I think what won't look good is against who, but that team is pretty good, if you know what I mean. So in the league, it's still doing well. They're 10 points ahead. He's in Coppa d'Italia, so he's in a situation where he can win something that they didn't do for a little while, the double. So, but the question are going to be raised in the Champions League, especially the way they finished the league phase and what happened. You don't lose only there; you lost at home and away.
Where do you kind of rate this in terms of Champions League upsets that we've seen in history?
We're looking at some here, but I think this is right up there. I thought the days of these type of results, especially in the knockout rounds, I don't know if some of them are in the maybe group stage, but in the knockout rounds, this feels pretty big to me, and I didn't think things like this could happen as much now, which I don't think is actually good for the game. So this, for me, is absolutely fantastic. But what I would say is, we're saying this is a huge upset because of the name of Bodo Glimt. If you put a different name on their team and looked at their performance, we wouldn't almost say it was like a shock result, really, because they were a better team. And when you think of the results that they've had of late, they've won 4 games in a row in the Champions League. Inter Milan twice, Manchester City and Atletico Madrid.
That's crazy.
So maybe, give them a little bit more respect, Kate.
Wow.
Unnecessary. We've been talking about Bodo Glimt getting that huge 5-2 aggregate win against Inter Milan, going through to the round of 16. Massive achievement. Their manager, I'm going to apologise for the mispronunciation of the name before I say it, Kjetil Knutsen. I hope I'm close enough. Very warm welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thank you. It's amazing, huh?
It's an incredible story. I think everybody watching has just kind of fallen in love with Bodo Glimt, with the results against City and Atletico and Inter, and just doing it again against teams that, from the outside looking in, we think you shouldn't be able to be. What's been key to those victories for you?
First of all, thank you. We are so proud today. I don't think the key is so. It's something to find a clear identity, how you want to play football. You need to find the players who wants to do the job. And I think the most important for Bodo Glimt is what we are doing on the pitch every day. We're working really hard. We have find our way to do it. And we know we need to be innovative how we do things. We need to have intensity in our play, and it's for me now. We are in the pre-season. We are out of season, and that's how we did it. 2 games against Inter. I can't actually believe it, but I think it's a good football history, and if we can do it, I think it's possible for many teams.
Boss, this is Thierry. Congratulations. I wanted to talk to you about, the mentality of the team. Obviously, you talk about the pressure, the togetherness, the will, the work, the tactic, whatever. But what I like today the most, personally, that's me. When Carragher scored the goal on the mistake of Akanji caused by your pressing, when Bloomberg recovered the ball, he celebrated, but then he turned and he looked at Bloomberg in the way and he went, "Why you didn't pass the ball?" And I love that. I love that because his mentality straight away was like, we're supposed to be a team, and we could have been, and you went 1-0 up, but his first reaction was like, you should have passed that ball. And I love that. And I love that because I was like, this team is special because they call each other out even when they score and even when they're winning. So explain how did you develop that? How did you put that into that team?
but for me, this is kind of our culture. If is another player in a better position, play him always. We are a little bit lucky because he take the second ball, and that's how it is. It's not it's just the way it is. But this is how we communicate, how we talk to the players, and this is for me culture. But if you talk about Ole Didrik Blomberg now, I think next time he will play to Jens Petter or someone else.
Well done.
Boss, you mentioned that you haven't played a competitive game of late. I think it's since the 30th of November. And how difficult is that where you just have Champions League games and friendlies in between?
It's really difficult. I think I'm so proud because we are out of season now. We play a game against Dortmund the 10th of December. And we have a couple of weeks off, and that we need to build up the players for being ready just for the pre-season, and then we have 3 weeks. You need to be have trainings where you can train with a high enough intensity to be competitive in the games, but for me it's not easy. And you see, after the last game, before the Inter game at home, it was 3 weeks. And if you see the start of the home game, I don't think we don't have the intensity in the beginning of the game. So we need to build it up in the game, and we are a little bit lucky in the first half. And So it's not easy, but we have good sessions, and that is the key. What you are doing on the pitch.
Boss, how are you going to celebrate tonight? And what are the scenes like in the dressing room?
Yeah, hopefully you can come into the dressing room, but I'm not there. But maybe a little bit red one tonight. I think we need it, all of us.
Well, I said if you go through to the next round, I have to come to Norway. Can I come to dinner with you? Can I take you out? Can I see a training session?
Yeah, we can start with that you can see a training session. That's a good start.
No dinner? No? Valentine was just around the corner.
No dinner. We can start with a dinner. That's too easy for you.
There's been a lot of talk in the studio today over here that you actually have a kind of a resemblance. You and Jamie Carragher are relatively similar looking. Would you consider that a compliment, sir? Or how do you feel?
For me, that's a compliment. Yeah. Oh. I don't think it's a compliment for him. I'm too old, but thank you.
Yeah. I'll take looking like him in 10 years' time. I'll take that. We'll shake on that.
You'd be very happy with that, wouldn't you, Jamie? Listen, congratulations. An incredible result.
Well done,
very impressive. Well done.
See you in Norway.
Oh, friend of the show, Jens Petter.
Congratulations, sir. How are you doing?
Okay. No, but I
take him.
Yeah,
really tired and unbelievable happy. It was a difficult day, but in the end we are really happy.
Thank you, sir. The coach said no to dinner. He said I could come to training, but could I take you out for dinner?
Let's have a dinner when you come to Bodø. I owe you that.
Ah, lovely.
It's on me.
Oh, perfect. Jamie?
And how was it going back to the San Siro and getting that goal? Big moment for you.
It was a lot of pressure off my shoulder. The Milan fans are really passionate, and they put extra pressure on me today. But in the end, I'm feeling very good.
Yeah, Jens Petter, congratulations once again. And I want to talk about the celebration of your goal, because you scored a goal, you go 1-0, and the first thing that comes in your head is to look at Blomberg, and you kind of look at him and like, why you didn't pass the ball? We talked about it with your coach, and he talked that that's the culture. Pass the ball in a guy that is in a better position.
Yeah, it's small details that can change matches, and I was a little bit surprised that he didn't pass the ball, but in the end it was a goal, and we are happy. But yeah, next time if you don't score, it's maybe a different match. So we have to play for each other, we have to help each other, and then the team will do good.
And I also wanted to talk to you about your assist, because at the beginning, again with Bloomberg, you had the ball, you looked at him, and then you were patient enough to see the second run, which was a good one. But what made you doubt to pass the ball first to Bloomberg, and you waited, you were patient to see the run of Evian, if I don't pronounce the name well, excuse me.
Maybe I was still a little bit mad at him because he didn't pass the ball, so no chance I'm playing him. What a finish, what a finish.
Yeah, it was a great finish. Well done.
Where does today's game, today's performance kind of rate for you personally? Champions League, qualifying for the round of 16 in the San Siro, doing it against Inter Milan. Where is this for you in terms of personal bests?
It's the best. It's nothing like this. It's against Inter in the knockout in the Champions League. Right now we cannot think of any match or nothing that beat this.
Okay, before you go, I'm coming to Norway, round of 16. We're going for dinner. Tell me what's on the menu, please, sir.
What you want? I think you want a big steak. with a lot of fries and yeah.
Not reindeer.
Which sauce you like?
Not reindeer, not herring.
What? Sorry.
Reindeer or herring?
Reindeer.
Ah, you want reindeer?
We want some Norwegian food.
I check in my garden.
So good to see you again, Spencer. We're looking forward to it. Congrats again. Enjoy your evening.
Thank you so much.
Enjoy it. God bless you. Thank you so much.
What did you say? Steak and fries?
Yeah, steak? No, why you have to go there?
His accent. Steak.
He's funny.
Steak and fries. He doesn't know about slim meats.
I know,
he doesn't know.
What was actually, we were talking before off air and trying to find out a team like Bodo Glimt that are not playing at the moment. They're off season. Being able to do what they did in the Champions League, knock out Inter, the team that they beat, that has to be up there with one of the, best, you would say surprise of the, in the history. Because the game that we had there before had group stage game. When team won a game, you knock them out and you're off season. And you're not supposed to be that team, which already we talked about. We know they are that team. I'm talking about how it looks. I think it has to be one of the best story in terms of where they are, who they are, and who they did beat, especially tonight. Twice.
How far
we could go last week.
How far is it? It's a long way for you.
Is it? Can I get a train there?
Oh, you're going to arrive next year.
It's a really long way. It's a waste of time, isn't it? To get a train all the way to Norway.
No, I'll
you
go
could get there
train.
in...
I'd rather go train and fly.
Oh, goodness me.
Imagine beauty, countryside, yeah.
What's the lights there? Is it the Northern Lights?
The Northern
Lights,
yeah. Nico was supposed to see them, didn't see them, I don't think. Hopefully you will. Imagine we get to do an interview with you live with the Northern Lights in the back. Be very cool.
It'd be nice, wouldn't it?
Yes, maybe you should take a special someone.
Oh.
That was supposed to be very romantic.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Enjoy yourself.
Interesting.
I'll take Jamie.
OK, but we are going to start with Manchester United's 1-0 win at Everton last night. It was the substitute, Benjamin Šeško, who scored another goal from off the bench to earn Michael Carrick's side the win to strengthen their hopes of securing Champions League football. Look, Ashley, it's interesting, isn't it? Because Jamie Carragher was saying that United are guaranteed Champions League football now. Do you agree with that?
Well, nothing's guaranteed, is it?
No, that's true.
Their form could fall away. I think in this form and the way they're playing, they are definitely guaranteed, and it would be probably Aston Villa looking over their shoulder at Manchester United because they are playing really good since Michael Carrick's been in. I don't see their form changing at all. I think he's got a formula that works and that they're enjoying their football. They look happy about it. So, in terms of that, if they can keep performing like that, yes, they're guaranteed Champions League football, but you just never know with football in the Premier League. We see it with teams all the time, and form is such a flippant thing that it could go another way, but they do look in a really healthy place.
Yeah, there's a nice tussle for it at the moment in terms of the table. Gary Neville perhaps has rose-tinted glasses on, who knows, but he thinks they'll finish third. What do you think of that?
I have to say, at the minute, I agree with him. I think Manchester United are the form team over Villa.
Yeah.
Aston Villa look a little bit nervous, and that they're starting to listen to the fans, and they're starting to look at Manchester United and worry about that instead of just doing what they need to do. So, I'm happy for Manchester United. It's been such a difficult, however many years for the fan base. Now, they're looking at a team that they enjoy watching. I enjoy watching. I'm not a Manchester United fan, but at the minute, this football, their style of football that they're playing is really good. So you want, if you're a fan of the Premier League, you want to see Manchester United doing well, in my opinion, anyway.
Yeah, I agree with that. You might disagree with that, being with your Aston Villa hat on there, Dave. But it has been an amazing turnaround, hasn't it, since Carrack arrived?
Yeah, I mean, it has. I mean, they've played well. I don't think a lot of people will remember the game at Hill Dickinson last night in 10 years' time as a Premier League classic. But you can't argue with the results. Look at that, unbeaten, 5 wins out of 6, different kinds of opposition, different kinds of performances. And if you look at the form table as well, across the rest of the Premier League, they've been absolutely magnificent compared to the rest of the Premier League. There they are, top of the form table, 16 points from 6 games ahead of Chelsea, Manchester City, Bournemouth, Arsenal and West Ham as well. So the question is now, where might they finish? Well, I guess if you were thinking about where they started the season under Ruben Amorim and then where they might initially finish under Ruben Amorim. So we've got match weeks along the bottom here and the cumulative points along the vertical. And if you obviously starting bottom left, that is Ruben Amorim in charge. And then Amorim is obviously greyed out there around match week 21 when Darren Fletcher took charge. And then we can see Michael Carrick take over the team. There's 3 divergent lines going off the season there. So if Ruben Amorim was still in charge with his current points per game when he left the club, United are due to finish on 59 points, which, according to our friends at Opta, would be outside of what they expect to be the Champions League places, top 4, top 5 this season. You can see the Opta prediction there is that United will finish on 64, which is right on the cusp of what they believe Champions League football qualification will be. So 4th and 5th, we're expecting 5th to be Champions League. 4th and 5th is around 64, 65 points. So United are right on that line, according to what Opta are predicting. But if they continue on this points per game that Michael Carrick is on at the moment, the line goes up to 77 points, which would absolutely be a guarantee of Champions League football. So 3 different outcomes this season could have been. 1 under Ruben Amorim, 1 is the potential predicted, and 1 is under Michael Carrick. Where will they end up?
It's interesting, isn't it? What's he done with this amazing upturn? Because if we go back to that form table, it's remarkable that they are absolutely top of that table right this moment.
Well, we need to give him as much praise as possible. But one of the things he did do was the obvious, the simple thing, which was change the formation, put players in positions that they've played most of their careers, give a little bit of freedom to the attacking players. And now I think once he's, when he did that in the first 2 games that he took charge, I think it was Manchester City and Arsenal.
Yeah, quite tough ones.
2 of the difficult ones. I think he literally put them back in the shape, the 4-2-3-1, and said, go and play. And now he's adding layers to it every game. And, OK, the last 2 games haven't performed as well, but, that happens in the Premier League. You're still getting the points. You're not losing games, clean sheet last night. So I think he's adding layers, and he'll continue to do that and what he wants from his team. But just as a start, putting that back 4 back in place, letting the good players that they brought in the summer, the Cunha and Buemo, those type of players, a little bit of freedom. Ahmad, freedom, go and play. I don't think he's over-coaching the attacking play going forward. You see they get the ball fast and early, and they go and play with a little bit of freedom. So without taking anything away from me, I just think he's simplified the game from when Ruben Amorim was there.
But I think you're right to point out, actually, that, not everything has been amazing for Manchester United during this run. And even last night, I think there were problems in the build-up last night. I think Everton had the most high turnovers of any Premier League game they've had this season. Couldn't convert any of them into a shot on goal. So United had problems building out from the back last night against a different opposition, maybe better opposition.
Yeah.
That opposition would convert one of those high turnovers into at least an attempt on goal. So there's still issues that Michael Carrick needs to get over. But then by the same token, it's hard to go to a David Moyes side away from home and be so fluent and win the game 3-4. It doesn't really happen. But also, the evidence suggests from this Manchester United side, can you rely on this group of players to string together win, 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 win? The evidence doesn't suggest that they're going to reach 77 and keep going on that points per game. So it's a case of, particularly now, when a result does go against United, how do they react after that? And that is how I think United's season will be defined.
Yeah, do you agree with that? Because that's a lot of people are saying, the only way that he's going to actually be looked upon properly is when actually he loses 3 games in a row, potentially, and what he does then. Do you agree with that kind of thinking?
Yeah, well, absolutely, because only time will tell a little bit of adversity which he hasn't faced yet in this little short spell, and how does he react? Knowing him and just seeing how he goes about his demeanour, I think he'll be very calm and calculated, and I don't think he'll... I think for once at Manchester United we're going to see a little bit of calmness and good press conferences and saying the right thing, not something that we can all grasp onto straight away and make a big deal of it. So I do think that he will respond in the right way, and I think he'll control his players in the right way. But I agree, it's been very rosy for him at the minute, and as a manager I can only imagine that life's great when it's like that, but maybe no winning 3 games or something like you say, and then we'll see really what he's all about. But at the minute, he can only do what he's doing. I don't think he can do any more.
And he's got the fans on side, which is quite remarkable, isn't it? Because I think there was that kind of, attitude against Ruben Amorim that really wasn't going very well in terms of his relationship with the fans. How important is that to get, Old Trafford singing again?
Massive, because they had all the ownership problems, and it's been, for as long as I can remember now, it's been, since Sir Alex Ferguson left, that place, I've been in that stadium many times just watching games as a fan of football, and it's it'd been toxic in there. So he's one of their own. They're playing football, as I said, which is interesting to watch. You're enjoying watching this team play. The fans are back. They're going to support him anyway because he's a legend of the club, as long as he gives them something to go with. And if you're involved in Manchester United, it's a happy place to be. And as I said, I'm not a Manchester United fan, but I'm happy for them because they've had such a hard time and they're such a massive club. So much scrutiny over them all the time, what the manager's saying and doing, and this player. And at the minute, they've just had a nice little, few weeks where everything's going well. And just going back to what you said, I think that, the build-up play, Martinez has been a different type of player. Without him in the team, they can't build up as well. So that's something that he's going to have to manage. If he's not on the pitch, who does that for him?
Yeah, OK. Well, if Michael Carrick gets the Manchester United team into the Champions League, should he get the full-time job? Well, we've been asking this on a poll today, and look, 85% say yes. Would you agree with that, Ashley, that, because there's this, again, a big chat about it has to be a big name, and that's what Manchester United need. But actually, this is a man that's doing a great job so far. And if he does get them into the Champions League, why not?
I absolutely agree with it. I cannot understand why he wouldn't get the job if he continues doing the job he's doing, because they've tried everything at and you've seen it with other clubs. You can go after the biggest name in the world. If it's not the right fit, it doesn't matter. And who's to say he's not going to be a big name in management in the next 5 years or 6 years? He might go on and win things. So why wouldn't he get? What more can he do? What's the point if he goes and gets that club into the Champions League from where they were? I know there wasn't when Ruben Amorim left, there wasn't in a bad where they were in the league, but they was playing dreadful football. So he's changed the whole thing around. He completely deserves to get that. I don't know. I have no idea why. Even if the most attractive manager pops up and is available, why you would overlook someone that's proven in this time. If he's had enough time, it's not like he's had 3 or 4 games. He'll have had enough games to show that he can get the job done. So, if they do finish, say, 3rd, for me, he's a shoo-in to get the job.
Yeah, it's interesting why there's such a clamour for a big name at Manchester United. Can you understand and sympathise with perhaps why a club of Man United's stature wants a big name at the helm?
Yes, but I think there has to be a bit of realism as to where Manchester United are right now. And we're talking about them fighting tooth and nail to get into the Champions League. We're not talking about them being a title contender. And I don't think they're going to be a title contender next season. It might only be the year after. Whoever comes in next, or if it's Michael Carrick, they're going to need 2-3 transfer windows again to continue with this team. It's more, I guess, what his remit was when he took over. If his remit was get us into the Champions League and you'll get an interview, perfect. I think what they need to show, or what the Manchester United hierarchy will be thinking about, is what's the long-term plan? What's the playing style? What kind of players would you like to sign or be involved in the conversation for signing? How are you going to cope with Bruno Fernandes ageing out? How do you see the evolution of this United squad? How do you see the future of football? Set pieces, long throws. Is this what Manchester United want to be? There's lots of questions that you would ask a manager in an interview and get their thoughts on and how they see United going forward. So, yeah, he might achieve the short-term targets, but I think for United it's more about long-term. Can he work under the structure? Can he deliver for United sustainably? They can win a trophy. Eric Ten Hag's proved that. This is about sustainable success now for United.
Yeah, OK. So, Benjamin Sesko with the winner off the bench for the second successive game. So are we really beginning to see, actually, Ashley, why they paid £70 million for this man?
Well, it's a lot of money, but we are, he's coming up with some important goals. And I'm happy for him as well, because he really struggled at the start, like all the Manchester United players did, but he especially did. And now you're starting to see he's putting the finishing touch on moves like this, which is this really isn't about Sesko, this goal, for me personally. It's a great ball from Cunha, and Bomo does his thing, and it's the run that we'll see that makes the goal. But he's coming up, his movement, he's showing now that he is a good player. So I've got to admit, I didn't see much of him abroad. And when he first came, I was a little bit, weren't sure myself. I couldn't see it at all. Whereas now, I'm starting to see how clever he is in and around the box, movement from crosses, and he's starting to look like the real deal. They've got a conundrum on their hands. I know everyone's talking about it. Should he start? Should he not? That's the real conundrum. But realistically, if you've paid out all that money in the summer to go and get those players, and the players are now showing what they're all about, and they're getting you out of situations like last night where maybe you're not playing as good as you want to play, those three players link up and get you out of trouble, which is exactly what you brought them in for.
What we do see is speed. I mean, it's extraordinary, the pace, the movement he's got.
He's obviously very fast, but what I love about it is the desire. You can be as fast as you want, but if you don't have that desire to go and get your goal and go and win the game and get in the end, you can see by his celebration, he was so pumped up for that. So when that ball gets played forward and it's between you and the defender, he could have jogged. We see it every week where you just jog and you hope your mate Mbeumo goes and does a bit of magic and scores a goal. But he was like, no, I'm going in the hope that this falls to me exactly where it did. So I love that about him, that he wants to score goals. He's got the desire to do that, 85-yard sprint and the pace with it to get on the end of it. Fair play to him. To answer your original question, he looks like he's coming up good for the money at the minute, but, I don't want to speak too soon.
Yeah, it was a great goal. I loved it, and absolutely agree with everything Ashley said about the desire to get up there. I think he was clocked at almost 22 miles an hour, one of the fastest sprints in the Premier League. But you talk about the pace, right? And what I loved about here we go. That's 21, 22 miles an hour there. This is the fastest forwards by Premier League strikers this season. Will Asula top, but Benjamin Sesko's obviously right up there. But what I also really liked about that, not only did he get up to the top speed, but he slowed down. And when he received the ball, when he struck the ball, he was travelling at almost 15 miles an hour. So he was able to slow himself down, composure, plant the foot, and still finish. I mean, I've done it in five-a-side when you run up to that. I mean, I know you've done that? No. I was going to say, I've done it where I've ballooned it over the cage. It's gone outside. But when you're running onto a ball like that, to slow yourself down, composure, and put it in the bottom corner, that's what I love. The deceleration, not only the top speed. But listen, I know not everyone's at home watching the Premier League show, but I bet you should be every day. But we did do a piece on the Premier League show January the 8th. I've actually reposted it on my X feed today if anyone wants to go back. But against Burnley, we did a piece on how quick he was. And he's rapid. He's absolutely rapid. And particularly, when he defends corners, right? So when he defends corners, one of his positions is basically right on top of the goal line. And United have launched a couple of quick breaks. And he has flown from one end of the pitch to the other to try and get on the end of things. And I think that's one of his most underrated characteristics, really. Everyone sees the frame, everyone sees the size, but actually his movement is absolutely fantastic. He's able to move that size of body so quick. His runs in behind, I think only Brian Mbeumo has had more runs in behind than Sesko this season. So mobility-wise, absolutely fantastic.
Yeah, rapid. He has been used as a bit of an impact sub by Michael Carrick. Do you feel from him a bit? That looks like might be his role at the moment.
Yeah, absolutely, because all players want to play. Everybody wants to start. There's not, I don't know. I've never come across a player that wants to come off the bench or start games on the bench. But Michael, it's working for Manchester United at the minute. So why would you change that? And as a manager, you do have to think about how do I impact this game if things aren't going well. Now, at the minute for Manchester United, he's the best change that they can make, if that makes sense. So if you think about taking somebody else out of that front four, maybe Cunha but you wouldn't do that. So I think the key to this situation is the manager communicating the situation with his player? Now, I'd like to think Michael Carrick is, because he's a really good communicator, and he's just explaining, look, don't drop in your levels, or don't become. It's not a confidence thing. Just stay at it, and your time will come. You will get starts, but at the minute, we need to use you, all of us. We're all benefiting with you coming off the bench. So stay patient with me. Don't get upset about it. And I do think Michael Carrick will be communicating that. And if he does that, it will be okay. But you do feel for him, because as football players, you work up all week to play that game, and when you sit on the bench, it's not fun. And especially when you keep coming off and scoring, he's going to be saying, I'm doing my job. But I can see where the manager's coming from, saying, well, if I start you, which is who do I take out? And then who's going to make an impact if we are 0-0 at Everton away and we need somebody to come on and score a goal? At the minute, unfortunately, you're the man to do that.
It's funny, though, because we spoke a little bit before we came on air, didn't we? And I was trying to think of somebody, but the only one for me is maybe Leandro Trossard, that actually did that a lot for Arsenal last season, and look what's happened this season. He's, in the starting 11, so maybe that's where he's, Michael Carrick's going to have that conversation if he gets the job permanently, of course. If we look about Šeško, can we kind of compare him to somebody that did something rather remarkable back in 1999? Well, super sub, the original super sub.
The letters in his name are shared, that's for sure.
Yes, I like it.
Solskjaer and Šeško.
Yeah.
I think... Look, I think the thing is as well, United want to be playing in all the competitions, and the fact is this season they're not, and maybe Šeško would have got more minutes had United have gone deeper in the FA Cup, for example.
Yeah.
But if you look at actually Solskjaer's record at Manchester United compared to Šeško, small sample size, I will give you that. But having a look at Solskjaer here, he had a better record coming off the bench, almost a goal per 90 minutes coming off the bench. But if you look at also Benjamin Šeško as well, it's very similar, the numbers of him coming off the bench for goals per 90. So, look, Ashley knows, of course, players want to start, they want to play. But I just wonder, he's got loads of time. He's 22. He's got loads of time to establish himself in this Manchester United first team. Maybe right now, this is the best role for him.
Yeah, and also, just to add on to that, it might be a case of Michael Carrick's protecting him a little bit as well, because the minute he starts and doesn't perform well, we're all going to have something to say about it. So maybe the manager's just saying, do you know what, let me just protect this boy a little bit, and I'll put him on when I need to put him on, and now he gets his rewards. Instead of, if he starts the next game and he doesn't score, he doesn't play very well, the critics come straight out again. So, we're going to get the comparisons with Solskjaer, and I don't think anyone really would want that tag, apart from Solskjaer, who seemed to thrive on it. But I don't see Šeško as being a long-term super sub at all. I think, like you say, next season maybe, he'll be leading the line for Manchester United.
I'm interested to hear you say about the fact that, perhaps he's being protected a little bit, because Gyökeres, at times hasn't quite shone for Arsenal, and then kind of it hadn't quite worked out, but it seems to be really working out right now. Who would you prefer to come up against, Gyökeres or Šeško?
If I was playing at Gyökeres, just because he likes more of a physical battle, and I always like the physical battle. And as I was saying before, Šeško's really clever in the box. Really, he tends to lull the defender to sleep a little bit, and he'll pop up, and they're the difficult ones to play against. Me personally, I used to like it when I'd have a fight the whole game. It would keep you switched on. So, but within saying that, I think Gyökeres at the minute is probably playing better and showing more signs of being a good player than Šeško, if that makes sense. But for me personally, I liked one that was going to, good battle in a game.
All right, we'll let you two tussle then.
In a moment, but third for Manchester United, what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I said at the beginning of the season, we can actually go back to it and see at some point. But I did say that if Man United can play the way they did against Arsenal, then they have a good chance of finishing in the top 6. That's what I said. But now, seeing the way they're playing and see the way the league's panned out, I definitely think they can finish in the top 3. I think they've been fantastic. They're playing with energy. They're playing in a formation where everyone looks very familiar now. I mean, it's only a few points. There's a lot of games to go, 11 games to go now. I think it's going to be very close, and I agree with Gary Neville there. I think Aston Villa are going to get pulled back a little bit. And again, I'm not sure they will finish in the Champions League spaces now, especially with the injuries they have.
Do you think Villa might, end up being 6th?
Yeah, I got.
We're kind of assuming that 5th's going to be okay, aren't we, for the Champions League?
Yeah, we're assuming that. But I mean, I mean, we spoke about it, for a few weeks now. Are Aston Villa in the title race? I don't think they're in the title race. I mean, they are where they are because, they've done so well this season. There's no doubt about that. Emery's got them playing great football, but I never thought they was in a title race. I genuinely think that, Chelsea, are going to come strong at the end. They got a better squad, they got more depth, and then obviously Man United are doing fantastically well as well.
OK, in terms of Manchester United, that's our poll today, or one of them. Will Manchester United finish in third place? And actually, yes, 63% of you are saying yes at the moment.
A lot of Man United fans.
Well, no, could general football fans, Jay, obviously agree with Gary Neville about third place. 16 points from a possible 18 since Michael Carrick has come in. Has he already passed his audition?
You know what, to be honest, Tom, I genuinely think if what happened with Solskjaer hadn't happened, I think they would have given him the job. But I think they're being a bit more wary because obviously Solskjaer went into the job, done really well. As he went in there, the players were really responding to him. But then obviously things turned for the worst the following season, the following few seasons. So I can understand why they're a bit sceptical to give him the job right now. But if this carries on, I mean, I want to see Michael Carrick as the manager. That's just me personally. I think he's great for, I want to see young managers in these big jobs now. I think it's refreshing. But I think they should give him the job. And I think it would be a risk if you bring a name in and then you have to pay that name. Let's just say someone like Luis Enrique. You're going to have to pay him like 20 odd million a year. And if that don't go well, you're going to have to go back to Carrick. And that's if Carrick don't get another job, which is like, I'll be looking at Tottenham, Newcastle. He's from Newcastle. Tottenham, he's played there as well. Like, I think these are jobs that he could potentially get at the end of the season if those managers leave, of course.
By the way, a lot of messages there saying that Manchester United can finish above third, by the way. So some optimistic fans out there. Right, another super sub goal for Benjamin Sesko. But is it time for him to start? Here's what Gary Neville thinks.
He looks like he's growing in his game and in his body, and he looks like he's got more power in his sort of performance. His confidence is high. And I think now on Sunday, I think Michael Carrick starts him. Just feeling how Michael will look at that, I think it would kill the lad if he didn't start on Sunday. So I think what you'll see on Sunday is probably Cunha to the left and Burmo to the right. I think Sesko up top, and I think you'll see Bruno obviously in behind.
Do you agree then, Jay? You actually at the top said no.
The thing is I don't think we're gonna if this happens and Sesko does start, I think Ahmad's gonna be the player that comes out. Just like he came off yesterday, Sesko went up there and then there was like a rotation between Mbeumo and Cunha that went in them wide areas. I think Cunha has been fantastic. I mean, Dorgu was there before, obviously he's got injured, but he's scored some very important goals. I really like Sesko as a striker. When he was in Germany, he was very good, scored some unbelievable goals. This goal last night as well, I mean, it is... I mean, Mbeumo done all the hard work. He's gave him a perfect ball, perfect pass, and Sesko's running onto that, and it's a very, very cultured finish, calm finish, and that obviously that means a lot to him because he wants to play. I think he's close, but the reason why I did say no is because at the moment I think Carrick will look at Ahmad and say he's very important to us, but I mean, the way they keep on playing and the way Sesko keeps on playing, that could change. And I think Ahmad might be the player that comes out because Mbeumo's been fantastic as well.
OK, we'll be speaking to a Manchester United fan very soon. But first, here's how to get involved with the Finalysis app.
Finalysis has partnered with Sky Sports to empower fan opinion. On the Finalysis app, you share your player ratings, your manager ratings, and your opinions on everything to do with your club, so that Sky Sports can put fan opinion at the heart of their football coverage. Scan the QR code to download the Finalysis app.
We're joined by Manchester United fan Flex. Now, Flex, great to see you. This is probably the happiest I've seen you for a long time. How high will you finish?
You can keep wheeling me out with these wins. I'm telling you that. You keep wheeling me out when it's positive. I can get behind that.
Flex, third. Give us the funk.
We can finish third, man. 100% we can finish third. Listen, I was getting a bit excited a couple of weeks ago saying, why not go for City? We're 6 points behind them, then it went to 3. Maybe that's a bit of a push. But listen, at the end of the day, the mission is to get Champions League football, whether that's third, whether that's fourth, whether that's fifth. We need to be getting Champions League football. But the way we are building momentum and consistency at a time of the season that is so pivotal. When you look from third to sixth, right? You look at Liverpool, they're inconsistent. You look at Chelsea, you look at Villa, Manchester United to some extent. We've all been inconsistent. Even the top two for the title race, they've been inconsistent. It's an inconsistent season from top to bottom. That is what we're seeing. It's who can put a run together towards the end of the season, put their head above the parapet and stake a claim. And guys, listen to me right now, yeah? Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, this kid, put some respect on him, right? No, it's true. Put some respect on him.
I said this before, Flex, at the beginning of the season. You know, when there was talk about Arsenal, who should Arsenal sign? Obviously, I was talking Isak, I was talking Alvarez, I mentioned Ekatike. Sesko was in there for me ahead of Gyökeres because I think he's a very, very good player. He can score all types of goals. He's strong, big, he's quick. You see the pay. He'd left, my man for Everton yesterday? He left him.
Tarkowski.
He left him. I think Tarkowski left his handbrake on.
With Housery all game. He was too busy throwing people in the net with Housery all game.
He's a fantastic player.
Do you know what, Jay? What I wanted from Gary yesterday as well. Gary, I love you, okay? I need you to commit to Sesko, Gary. I need it. Like, he was like, he's not perfect, but what Gary should have been saying in comms yesterday was, look at that, it's Haaland-esque. He's left Tarkowski for dead, it's Haaland. He's on his bike. And that is a fantastic finish. He scored 6 and 7.
Flex. We can't talk about Haaland, though. Can't talk about Haaland just yet.
No, what I'm saying is, I'm not saying he's better than him, was going to be as good as him. What I'm saying is give him that United bias. Give him it. Let him have his flowers. But also, guys, when life gives you lemons, what do you do? Keep clean sheet.
This is what we were saying. Flex, I haven't spoke about Man United's goalkeeper since he's been signed. I haven't spoke about him this season. I have not said a word about Man United's goalkeeper because he's been that good. He's made fantastic saves. He's been playing out from the back. He's been a good sweeper keeper. He's definitely one of the signings of the season.
Well, we're going to be getting on to signings of the season and goalkeepers in a moment, but Jamie sent us this voice note. Listen to this.
You know, they've got Crystal Palace at home next. They've got Villa at home as well in the next month. So I think they've got a good chance. You know, they're unbeaten in 10. So fingers crossed they make third. Even if fourth, I'll take that. You know what I mean? Manchester United have come from nowhere to this. So I'm impressed.
Definitely.
And give Carrick the job.
Okay, so, well, the end there saying give Carrick the job. What do you think, Flex?
Let's game by game. It's too early. We're 6 games
11
in.
games left in the league.
Yeah.
When would you want a decision made?
I think
it's got to be by April.
Yeah, we do have to do it before the end. We shouldn't be getting to May and then be like, right,
Yeah.
let's go for the manager search. But for me, I do understand that there's a lot of candidates for the job, and I before Carrick got there, I'm like, I think we should go for a top manager, an experienced manager, one of the big ones. But when you look at the managerial landscape and how it's changing, Thomas Tuchel's not available anymore, Carlo Ancelotti's not available anymore. How realistic is it that Luis Enrique is going to come to Man United, and what does that look like, the dynamics of that? If Carrick puts the footing down and puts the foundations down and continues to do this, he's probably the most appealing. I'll be honest, and I think you have to go with what you know sometimes.
Flex, that's the thing you mentioned there, Luis Enrique. But I look at Luis Enrique. Luis Enrique comes to Man United. He's not wanting 5 mil a year. He's wanting 20 mil a year, something like that, and probably beyond that. He's going to say, that's the kind of money I want. If he then comes in and then Man United go through this period where they're not playing well, as well as Carrick's done with this team, can they afford to pay him, sack him and say, there you go, take your money and leave? Because then you're going to have to go back to someone like Carrick. You probably would go back to Carrick if you didn't have a job. But I think by then, Carrick probably would have took a Tottenham or a Newcastle. He's going to get a big job because he's done well at Middlesbrough. He's doing well at Man United now. A Premier League club is going to say, we'll take him. We'll take you. We want you to be our manager.
Yeah, he's doing well. And I agree with you there, Jay, because... And I was in that camp of go and get the name brand manager, go and get this, go and get that. But you've got to think about how that manager is going to come in and work alongside Ineos when they've got a lot to put right. They've got a lot to work at. And what we need now is stability. We need familiarity. And Michael Carrick appears to be showing that for the first 6 games at least. Like you said, there's still 10, 11, 12 games left. We have to keep calm. but he's in pole position. It's almost his job to lose if he continues in this vein. And I didn't necessarily think that before Michael Carrick got there. But with the record that he's got now, I think United fans, listen, we're not perfect. The last couple of games against West Ham and last night against Everton, we can see we got issues if team let us have the ball. We can see that. But the most important thing around Michael Carrick, should he get the job, is the recruitment. Even under Ruben Amorim, we became better by proxy just by signing Premier League players. Just by signing Cunha and Mbeumo and a competent goalkeeper and Benjamin Sesko, we became a better team. Ruben Amorim self-combusted, fell out with the hierarchy and left us in 6th position. He wasn't even doing that bad. He didn't get sacked because of results. So if you do hire Carrick, which I'm not opposed to if he does the job to get us into Champions League, just recruit well again. This has been one of our best windows in a very long time.
Who would you bring in going forward? Where do you think Man United need to strengthen their team?
Central midfield. For me, Elliot Anderson has to be a priority. Don't miss the bag like we did with Declan Rice a few years ago.
I love
don't
him.
miss the
I think he's a
bag
great
when we
player.
had the chance. Yeah, don't miss the bag
And
when we
Wharton.
had the chance to time Moises Caicedo, Wharton, Baleba, Tonali. These types of guys, we need to be right at the front of the crew.
Did you see
fumble the bag?
Flex? I don't know if you see this, but Sports Illustrated, they mentioned that Odegaard might want to go to Man United.
No, I don't want him, mate. I don't want him, mate. I want Bruno Fernandes, mate, or we bring Cole Palmer home. We don't want Odegaard, mate.
Cole Palmer, yeah?
Fixed. Yeah. That's what I want. That's what I want. I don't want.
Do you think that's realistic, though?
What, Palmer? Yeah, not this summer, maybe, but he's
got a 9-year deal.
Don't worry about that, man. Don't worry about that. But listen, guys, I have to say this. Sorry, Tom. Senny Lamans, I know you was going to talk about maybe signings of the season. I'm telling you, this is Man United's signing of the season. I thought it was Mbeumo. I love how consistent he's been. He's been excellent. But let me tell you, we used to pray for times like this. The PTSD, that has been caused from having Andre Onana in net. Senny Lamans is just going under the radar, collecting things like baby Courtois, bro. And I have to say this, what I love about him is his personality. He's not interested in main character syndrome. This guy looks like he uses unscented shower gel. He just wants to be clean. I don't need oud. I don't need patchouli. I don't need to be smelling of roses. I just need to be competent, do my job, and go home.
This save was unbelievable.
Fantastic save. And we faced about 10, 11 corners with absolutely Royal Rumble settings on the goal line. And Senny Lamans was finding space to come and punch the ball, come and claim the ball, to the point where even David Moyes himself after the game said, my gosh, they got a good one there. And Van der Sar was playing it in the studio as well.
That's what. Sorry, Tom. That's what I was going to say. His demeanour reminds me a bit of Van der Sar. Calm, relaxed.
Yes, and we have to keep calm. He's young, but he's a good one. He's a good one.
It's high praise indeed. OK, Flex, great to see you. Thank you.
Flex. Nice one, fellas.
It wasn't the prettiest, but you're going to take that, aren't you? And the clean sheet that came with it.
Yeah, without doubt. I think there's games when you have to do that and show different sides to the game, really. And I kind of expected, we had the first 4 games where the first, obviously, 4 wins in a row and some really good performances in there. And I kind of expected a little bit of a kind of period where we would have to find ourselves a little bit and find results and what we did it to a point at West Ham and we had to do it today, and that spirit, that sacrifice, that willingness to work for each other and as a team. I think the way we had to defend the box for the last spell of the game, everybody playing their part, and in the end a clean sheet, fantastic, and a great win for us.
The fact that you hadn't played for a while, did that affect the performance at all? It was a bit of a slog, wasn't it?
It was. It didn't really come easy for us tonight. It's a tough. I came to Everton for a long time, and when we come over here, it's always tough. And so I've never had an easy game. I've never had a game where it's all clicked. I don't think I can remember. So we expected a tough one tonight. Listen, when we played our last game is what it is, But the lads have trained really well actually, and we came in looking and feeling good about the game. It just was one of those nights for us, and it was a bit of a. We had to dig deep. It was a bit of a struggle at times, but sometimes they're the best ones to win.
You used the word click there. 3 summer signings, they all clicked, didn't they, for the goal?
Yeah, it was a great move. We know we're capable of that. I think we've got players that can do that, and if we defend as a team and we put the work in, then we always feel we've got a chance. You know, the clean sheet was just as important as the goal, but it was a fabulous goal, brilliant from Mateus, defending well, changing in the transition, and Brian picks out the pass, and for Ben it's just a really confident, strong finish, which I liked. You know, it was fantastic, delighted for him again. He's made an impact again, and he keeps doing it.
And what kind of impact is he going to make going forward? Has he done enough for you to maybe have a think about perhaps starting him from the top?
Yeah, listen, Ben's in a good place at the moment, and we've had some really good talks about it. And patience is one thing for him, and building him and helping grow as a player and developing as a player here. And he's patient, and he understands that. You know, he's going to be a big player for us for a long period of time. I'm sure of that. And so we got to manage that. We got some really good forward players, and he's made a big difference for us when he's been on the pitch. But that's obviously decisions as we move forward. But the balance has been good with the forward players, so we need to continue that.